Hello all, welcome back to the INVICTUS stream. My name as always is Mr. Harlan Guthrie, and I am here with the lovely Mr. Rob Deobald.
Hello.
The incomparable Miss Joe Fallak.
Hello. That's me.
And we are here this fine evening with giving you something that you have never seen before on Earth, ever. This is just the first thing ever you're ever going to see, ever. You're a baby before this point. Tonight we are bringing you a game called Wolfspell.
Yeah, we are playing Wolfspell. It is a game by Epidaya Rabishaw. You can go to Worlds Without Master and learn more about it. And it's a game about these adventurers who deal with this curse of being turned into a wolf and having to sort of sort that out.
Great name, by the way. Epidaya Rabishaw?
That's the name, yeah.
That's a good name. What's it called? You know how certain food has good like mouthfeel? That name has good mouthfeel.
It's like cellar door.
Cellar door. Yeah. There's a word for that, but I don't know what it is off the top of my head. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This is the INVICTUS stream. If this is the first time watching, you're in for a treat. Tonight we are greeted and joined by guest handsome GM Mr. Rob Deobald. He gets another round of applause.
And handsome is my middle name, it turns out.
It technically is, actually. I wanted to talk to you about that. But yeah, if you're watching this, it's going to be an 18-plus show. We are rife with uncomfortable scenarios and no-no words such as pee-pee, poo-poo. Any others that come to mind, Joe?
Vagina.
That's true. We have said vagina once or twice, especially in a wolf game. I think it's going to come up for some reason. But yeah, it's going to be an 18-plus show. If you're not okay with that, that's okay. All you have to do is close down the video and lock the door to your bedroom. But before you do, make sure you like the video. When you like the video, it makes us feel complete. It gives us a little bit of a, one of these things. I get that.
What is that called again?
Ebediah rubbish. I don't know. It's the thing that you do. I don't know what that is actually. That's just like a thing.
It's like a little tweedly twoo.
I think
Tweedly twoo.
Tweedly twoo. Right, Rob? That's the technical name, isn't it?
I think I've heard that once before.
Yeah, and it was like 2 seconds ago, right?
It was, yeah.
But yeah, make sure you like the video. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can leave us a little comedy poo. Just say, thank you so much. This was a great time. We love Rob. Have him back. Most importantly, make sure that if you want to be a part of the most beautiful community on the internet, you run over to Facebook and you join that group. Facebook is the place where we get together and we have a chitty chat and we talk and we hang out and we spend time as a family together. It's actually very interesting. Facebook has recently started this mentorship program where you can use a group and be like a mentor to people in it. And I thought, hey, that sounds like something neat. I get a lot of people messaging me, asking me for RPG advice and stuff like that. So I thought, let's do this. I'll sign up. Maybe a few other people will. Overwhelmingly positive response from the community. These people are so giving. I think I posted it today, and already 9 people have signed up for the mentorship program with dealing with all different walks of life. If you're looking for someone to talk about depression with, Dustin Wright is there for you. If you want to talk about story writing, Stephen Wolf is there. If you want to talk about just life experience, marriage, and all this kind of stuff, Jason Griffins and Stephen Holmes is offering up health and fitness tips because he's in great shape for 50, I think he said 50 or 56-year-old guy. These are people that are happy to contribute to the family that we bring in the brood, which is what we call us. So tonight, MVP, we are going to give it to every person who signed up for the mentorship program as a mentor.
Amazing.
Yeah, I'm really proud of you guys, sincerely. And equally, I hope that if you want someone to talk to or someone to listen to, if you want someone to share anything with, that you suggest joining as a mentee? Mentos? As a Mentos. I hope you join as a Mento.
Join as a baby. And find a big guy or girl to just show you the way.
A big and a little. No, but sincerely, if that's something that you want to, if you want to talk to somebody, go check it out. I'm really proud of you guys. I'm getting all soft up here. Anyway, that's the MVP. That's a roundabout way of saying that when you join the Facebook group, you have a chance to win Most Valuable Post. And these are the people who won most valuable post this week. So surprise, surprise, nobody. Additionally, we want to mention that in just a few weeks, we are going to be in Gen Con.
Oh my God.
Indianapolis.
The wrong sound effect.
In Indianapolis at Gen Con. What are prepositions anyway?
Yeah, we're going to be in Indianapolis, and we're really excited. We're going to be playing some games and having some fun, and I'm kind of excited for the prospect of meeting people, but I'm also excited for the prospect of running this Call of Cthulhu game and hanging out with Rob and buying some merch and eating some food. I mean, what isn't there to be excited about?
Is there traditionally really good food there?
Food culture in Indianapolis is really interesting, or at least around Gen Con the last couple of times I've been, because they make a big deal. There's a whole bunch of food trucks. They do a big sort of like food truck pavilion, and that's super cool. But then I also found, like, if you walk 5 or 10 minutes away, 90% of the other people didn't go that far, and you can find like, oh, here's the all-you-can-eat Indian buffet that's just over here, and here's the other little interesting thing. So I think if you look for it, if you go a little bit out of the way of the like Starbucks and the obvious stuff, you can find some interesting little food gems, and I would encourage.
What is this Starbucks you speak of?
Starbucks.
Is
that a seafood restaurant?
Yeah, it is definitely. There's a mermaid on every fish. They stamp it in.
Isn't Starbuck like something from?
Starbuck is from that Moby Dick. He's the second in command or something. I don't know. Mostly Starbucks in Battlestar Galactica, and she's awesome. So
there's a Starbuck in Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I named my cat after Starbuck.
Aww.
After the Starbuck in Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, Kara, right?
Yeah,
Starbuck. Yeah, that's so crazy. I watched the entirety of the series. I
definitely did. Totally, right. It's very clear you did.
I really did. I just totally.
I believe you. I really believe you.
Apollo, wasn't that a guy too?
Apollo was. Yeah, he's the
son of the captain. Yeah. Starbuck was Kara.
So we're gonna be at Gen Con. Join us on Saturday night, August 3rd. We're gonna be at Coach's Tavern. We haven't told them yet, but we're gonna be there. We're just gonna show up with everyone. So join us there. It's in Indianapolis.
Dude, we outsmarted all the nerds at Gen Con because we're deciding to go to a sports bar.
Yeah, and it's also like a 10-minute walk from the convention center, so
no one's gonna want to go to a sports bar.
It'll be close enough to walk, but far enough away that people who just want to hang out at the con are gonna be. They won't be there. We're gonna be there, and you're gonna be there.
See us, then don't see us. That's
and Harlan's gonna be there.
Rob's gonna be there.
Rob's gonna be there.
Justin's gonna be there.
Justin's gonna be there.
And sound like good people.
Yeah, they're good. You know what? If it's just us four, I had to do the math quickly in my head.
We're gonna have a fucking good time anyway.
Yeah.
I was like, and then I subtracted. I was like, 4 of us. When the 4 of us are there, I'm gonna have a great old time anyway. I'm gonna order some chicken wings. That's what Buffalo's famous for, right? In Indianapolis.
Buffalo, Indian.
Wait, hold on.
No, try again.
You're saying these are different places?
Different con. No.
Wait, the States isn't just one place?
No, it turns out they're different cultures and different climates. And
Canada's bum?
It's like lots of little Canadas all jammed together.
But it's funny because there is sort of the trope of like how we're America's hat. Yeah. It's like, really? Because you guys are like butts. Or I guess our shoes. Maybe.
Just everything below the neck.
But nice shoes. Really nice. Well, not the southern state.
I feel like they maybe stepped in something. I don't know.
Listen, all you guys.
Girls.
We love everybody. Individuals. Listen, no one in Canada is all good. But there's a lot of shitty people. And I know there's a lot of shitty people everywhere in the world. And there's none in Indianapolis, so come. We're really excited about that.
Nice.
Other things that we want to talk about, who knows, doesn't matter. Tonight, as Rob's saying, we're playing Wolfspell. This is a great video to watch if you are new to the game, if you're interested in what it is, or if you just have a beautiful heart-on for Rob like I do, because he's going to be showing us the rules and explaining to us all the benefits of playing a little wolfie, and it's going to be really, really fun. So if you are watching this video because you don't know what Wolfspell is, or because you're trying to learn the game, don't go anywhere else. Don't do this thing. See how I was pretending to look like if you're moving, just stay here, because this is going to be the video that you're going to want to watch to learn all those beautiful little dice mechanics, especially if you're Epidaya.
You nailed it.
Epidiarocol, Rolsh.
Rabbit
Rocol is red cabbage.
Well, I was sharing all those information as foodies. We're foodies as well. We are, though. Rob is a huge foodie. Joe's a foodie. Justin's getting into the foodie.
I'm a foodie.
We should do a food stream.
Okay.
The snuggle is real.
Oh, let's all
That's a
share our
cute
cups.
mug. Yeah.
I've got one of these.
Aperture Science.
Oh, nice.
Rob, let's see yours full.
The snuggle is real.
I love it. And then I got, in case I forget how to spell my name.
Just do the first letter and then you're all set.
I'm like, I know it starts with something.
Okay. What is it?
Oh, yeah. It's a sideways T. Or I guess that's an I. Never mind.
Did you finish your coffee already?
What?
Goodness. You finished your coffee already? There it goes.
That would have been embarrassing. All right, I think that's it. I mean, we're ready to start this thing. So many people are interested in learning. So, Rob, why don't you take us on a little dream adventure?
Woo-hoo.
All right. So I
Actually, hold on. Let me do a sound effect to cue. This is the start of the game. So that when Aisha cuts this up for the podcast, which is so amazing, she knows to jump for the sound. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Wolfspell, the Savage Curse. Yeah,
Okay.
It's a very long sound effect.
It's definitely one I can't hear right now, and so
I can't hear it either.
Oh.
Just you.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Well, it was short. It was really short.
that's
Well, I'm
great.
glad
So then
that
we
we-
got a lovely dead air for a nice break before
Yeah,
we
let's
get
do it
into-
again. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Wolfspell. Wonk, pause, and...
All right. Welcome to Wolfspell. Wolfspell is a sort of sword and sorcery, high fantasy sort of game. We're definitely starting it as high veteran adventures. You guys have seen some shit and have lived through a lot, and you're on. Maybe this is one last job. Maybe this is just the penultimate quest that you're finally on, the last treasure you were seeking, something like that. But we want to learn a little bit about you before we get to any sort of rules, any sort of anything. There's 5 facts about these characters that we're going to meet in a minute. I think I would like you each to pick 2 of them. So I'm going to read them out for you, and if you can tell me which one applies to your characters, we can go from there. Many have tested my sword arm, and now wait to meet vengeance upon me in the afterlife. I am witness to stranger worlds than most. The arcane and preternatural are to me as wolves in weather are to the farmer. I am a home when I sleep under the sky and hunt far from civilization. I am most alive in the houses, halls, and alleyways of civilization. No one ever truly knows where I stand and who I keep at dagger point.
I like the
Of
first
those
and last
5.
one personally.
You like the first and the last one?
Yeah.
So say what those are.
One was a lot of people wait
So
for
many
me in
have-
the afterlife.
Many have tested your sword arm and now wait to meet vengeance upon you in the afterlife.
Yes.
And no one ever
no.
truly knows where you stand or who you keep at dagger point.
Yeah, I kind of like those 2 for my character. I'm kind of picturing this grizzled, like, listen here, scar over the eye.
How do you feel about the last 3, Joe?
I'm definitely gonna go with I am at home when I sleep under the sky and hunt far from civilization. I picture my character as kind of a far-ranging type, and I am a witness to stranger worlds than most. The arcane and preternatural are to me as wolves in weather are to the farmer.
Perfect. So what those all have a mechanical impact associated with them. The basic mechanism for this game is there's two dice. One is a blood die. It'll be red. One is a wolf die. It'll be gray. You'll roll those 2 dice. You'll subtract the highest one from the lowest one and sort of get a result between 1 and 5. That's either wolf, meaning you're doing something particularly wolfy, or blood, meaning you're going to do the thing you're trying to do in a particularly human way. But there are some things that modify those dice. For example, many have tested your sword arm and now wait to meet vengeance upon you in the afterlife. So when you're performing tasks of gore or hatred, you may add +3 to your blood die after rolling. As you might not want to if you want to be more wolfy, but you may. And in matters of deception and trickery, you can add +3 to your blood die because no one ever truly knows where you stand. being witness to stranger worlds than most, you can add +3 to your blood die after rolling when faced with supernatural. And the other stat, so you get these modifiers at +3, you also get feral as a stat. And this is when you're going to want to hunt down and track, because how feral you are is how intrinsically a wolf you become, or already are in this case. And it might make it harder to transform back human later. So being at home, sleeping under the sky, and hunting far from civilization, you start the game with 2 feral.
Okay.
And maybe let's focus in on that. Is you had a name for your character? I think.
Yes, Merritt Steel Farmer.
So Merritt Steel Farmer, you are most at home when you sleep under the sky and hunt far from home. Were you always that way, or did something drive you far from civilization?
I think I was raised by my mother and father in relative isolation. I think they were also adventurers once upon a time before they retired together and settled down, and they had seen enough of the world that they felt like they wanted to separate themselves from it. And so they built a cabin off quite a distance from any civilization, and that's where I was raised. And so I'm most comfortable sort of ranging by myself in the wilderness.
So what do you like most about those moments in the wilderness, alone, sort of just sky and stars and wind?
That's a good question. I think she likes listening. She likes the sounds that she can hear when she is far from any other human. She likes, crickets, the babbling brook.
Nice. Is there a part of civilization that you miss when you're not a part of it, or that you'd like to visit on occasion? Is there anything that draws to you there, or is it all just offensive?
What draws me to civilization? Yeah, I mean, company, of course. Like,
That makes sense.
I think she ultimately still really prefers to be in the company of another person, at least one, just because, that's like a human inclination. She gets lonely just like everybody else.
Perfect. Harlan, you had a name for your character too.
Grimden.
So, Grimden, you are a master of deception and trickery. What drove you to become skilled in that? What makes it your natural instinct to lie and to trick? Is it just a thing you had to practice at?
I don't think it's necessarily. Maybe I'm misreading this, but I get benefit on deception and trickery. But the way I'm kind of picturing it,
yeah.
Because of the write-up, what you said was that it's like no one can know if they're your friend or not.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of more take it that I'm like not necessarily trying to trick them, but I'm just so difficult to read. Like there's nothing there almost. Like it's like super bland, and to understand, like just the best poker face ever.
Yeah.
Just to be like.
So how do the people who truly know you, those one or two really rare individuals, what do they get to see that nobody else does?
Do they, though? Do they truly know me? I can't do that voice the entire time. It's like Batman.
Or is there someone, or is there no one? Like, are you so lonely that there's no one who gets to truly see you?
I think maybe, to an extent, maybe Grimden doesn't actually really know where he falls in this world. Mm-hmm. He has such a difficult time placing himself. He feels very out of sorts to an extent. So I don't know if he has many people that really are even around him so far as understanding him would go. Right. I think people can kind of guess and be like, are you angry right now? He's just like staring off, being like, you're like,
so is Grimden the sort of person? Does Grimden actually know? Is he self-reflective enough to be able to tell when he is angry or sad or feeling something, or is it just sort of all toxic masculinity? I'm not allowed to know, myself.
I don't think it's necessarily toxic masculinity so much as he's almost like a bit like dumb, almost not.
Okay.
Not it's like it's almost like it's not. I don't think he's conscious of
Okay.
being closed off. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
where it would be more toxic. He's just that he's sort of
Doesn't
just-
occur to him to be introspective
Yeah,
at all?
it's like a different wavelength. It's like he's a tool. It's like he comes in, he kills the thing, and then leaves. And it's almost, you know, understandable, because when you like talk to him, you know, if you're sitting by a campfire and you're like, I wonder why the stars twinkle, he's like, cares, and like lies over. You know, it's like this just doesn't. He's just not that smart. He's not that interested. He's just very like one dimensional almost in that regard.
Yeah, let's jump up then to your sword arm, and you know many have been tested by it, and now wait to meet vengeance upon you in the afterlife. Let's talk about the ways your prowess are exceptional. Like what kind of badass are you? What is it with your sword arm that meets such vengeance out on these people? How are you good? What are you good at?
I think he's got sheer brutish resolve, almost like just this absolute cleaver like mentality where there's no finesse, there's not even necessarily mass or strength, there's just like this will, this like determination where most people would make a single cut. You know, he'll hack and hack and hack through bone and gristle to come out the other side as quickly and fast as possible, maybe fueled by that anger and that gore and that violence, but not with any real thought or necessarily provocation. It's just this sort of like, again, I picture him in like a hammer. You know, he's you don't have a conversation with a hammer, you use a hammer. And I would guess most of his life, I see him as someone who's been his entire service in some king or queen doing their object. And he's an older person. He's got graying hair and like, you know, scars on his face, and that king or queen has been overthrown or died, and now he's just like, okay, go function in a society. You know, he's like a miner who spent every day in the mines and now is told to go home and spend time with your kids. It's like he doesn't understand it, and now he's walking the world almost looking like it would almost serve him for someone to come along and be like, hey, I'll take you this way. But he has so much anger and strength that for the people who do cross him over petulant things, he sort of just hacks apart. And because, again, they don't really understand. He'll play a game of something, you know, cards or dice. Right. And because of that almost unintentional trickery or that unintentional deception of that poker face of Stonewall, people might be making fun, being like, hey, you know, yeah, you don't know how to play the cards. And he just like stand there. And they're like, you know, it's a joke. And he's like, of course. And like stands up and walks out and then hacks them in the alleyway because they slighted him in some bizarre way that no normal social person would understand. He's just got this like weird moral code that has been like bred over years of servitude to some unknown king.
Yeah, no, so it definitely sounds like Grimden's got a sort of skewed sense of urgency and morals and things in the world. Whose ghost is he afraid of? Whose ghost haunts him?
Whose ghost? That's an interesting question. I don't know. I mean, he has weaknesses, of course. A ghost-wise, though, that's a good question.
Your mother?
I don't know. It seems a bit too on the nose for him. I think it would be something maybe a bit more obscured. I don't want to say like, you know, fire or something silly like that. Like it's obviously a thing and a person. Let me think for a second. Maybe jump over.
Cool. Yeah. So let's circle back. So, Merit is witness to stranger worlds than most. The arcane and preternatural are to her as wolves and weather to the farmer. So, in what ways do you like most frequently encounter the arcane and supernatural? How does that come up in your life?
I think ever since she was a little girl, Merit had dreams that she almost felt like places that she was able to visit. Not so much like visions of the future, but felt like real tangible places. Like she could travel almost. And places where it felt like if she just went far enough in the waking world, she would come upon them. So I feel like she has some sort of connection with another more fantastical place. I'm not really sure what kind of scope like sorcery actually has in this game, so I don't want to give her any like.
You totally could, because eventually it'll come down to being a wolf is very much not like being a human, and whatever powers you had in as a person are going to be interesting to try and access as a wolf. So whatever scope you think like is appropriate. And my next question for you is really, how did you learn the secrets of that thing? Like did you walk through worlds? Did you master it? Is it still unknown to you and you're just like staring into it through the window that is your mind?
I think she thinks she has. I think maybe when she's traveling alone for long periods of time over long distances, as she's wont to do for her adventuring career by herself, she maybe goes into a kind of trance that allows her to travel long distances without really realizing it. Whether that's in actuality or within her mind is vague to her even. But it's like when you make your morning commute and you get to work and you don't really remember having driven there.
Right.
It's like that. But it's a little bit arcane as well.
Nice.
It's like Long Strider.
Yeah. That's really
like
cool.
You see the top of a hill and then you're there.
Is there? Yeah. No, I love that. That's super interesting. How do you feel about
question,
ghost?
going back to my ghost, does it have to be a human, or can it be like a pet or something?
Anything you like. It's your ghost. What haunts you, man?
I think it's going to be like the ghost of his horse or something.
That one's vengeance on you?
Oh, is this one vengeance on me?
Not necessarily. There are many who want vengeance on you.
I think he does. I think I could see that. Not in a silly way so much as like, I think what happened was like, he never made a connection to anyone, as we sort of established. He's sort of this lone wolf type figure, pun intended, of just this, but not really just because he doesn't want or understand anything else. And I would say the only connection really he's ever had is like his horse. And I think maybe it broke a leg or something, and he had to like decapitate it, and in like a brutal way that he would do. And he's like, maybe like, not even for a justified reason, but he like has visions and like nightmares of like his horse coming back and like trampling him to death and just like stomping him, because it was the only thing he's killed that he ever had any sort of connection with. And even though the connection was just like a utility, he sort of sympathized with the fact that his entire life he was treated as like an object, the same way his horse was.
Is this the only murder that you regret?
I think so, yeah. It's not regret so much. It was the only murder or kill that he has done that's ever stuck with him. Because he knew it was the right thing to do. There was no doubt in his mind. He didn't think about it after, but he still played with his dreams, his nightmares.
What's the name of your horse?
Meter.
Or Meter? I love it.
Yeah. Love that.
Yeah, I just thought of another question about this long striding. Yeah. Is that something like how old were you when the first time you did it? And is it something you feel like you do more now, or talk about that through your life? Is that a thing that's been always there, or a new thing?
Yeah, the first time Merritt activated this long strider ability that she has, she was pretty young. She was probably, she used to range far from home from an early age before she left her parents' residence. Maybe 12 or 14. She was out doing something innocuous and girlish, picking berries or something like that. And felt like she stepped through space back home before the sun could go down. And she dreamed about it that night. She dreamed about the spaces that she passed through on her way that were impossible to have been to, that she'd never seen. I
love that. I love that image of you reliving the journey that you didn't take in your dreams.
Yes.
Like the places between point A and point B, you go back and revisit.
Exactly. And so, yeah, that's how it works. And so she tried to practice it, and sometimes it came and sometimes it didn't come. But she was able to access that more readily over the next 10 years. And now it's a near daily thing.
Amazing. So Merritt and Grimden, through some manner of luck or circumstance or chance, you have come to be working together in a partnership of and you'll get to decide how long that's been around. You've discovered the old Queen's tomb, which is not a thing that's been open in a long time. It's full of relics of this ancient cult, and you discovered it underneath one of the bigger cities in the world. You happen to learn of it somehow. Tell me about how you came to work together and learn of these treasures. And what drives you to get them.
I like the idea of, in that sort of scenario that I sort of played out already, it's a night at a bar, maybe in this town, maybe a city nearby. Maybe we've been together for a few weeks or something. And I'm at a table playing some game, probably cards, or I think dice make more sense for some reason. And this guy thinks he reads me, he thinks he's making a joke of it. And when he leaves the bar hours later, I'm literally just waiting outside, as if almost like to formally duel. And as he walks out, he's like, what? And I just walk up to him and draw my sword and just start hacking him apart. And it's like I just, kill, the same way this lawless small town is well, you start a fight, you fucking finish it type thing. But I like the idea that maybe you either witness that, or you witness the start of that, or you witness the end of that. You seem to be a much cleverer character, and I think you see in me this brutish tool-like nature that you can sort of implore for your means. Maybe I'm like the muscle, or I'm the thing.
Yeah, I guess my question to you is, why would I interfere or be interested in someone who is so violent for seemingly no reason?
Yeah, that's fair. I think it's it would have to be revealed maybe that he's cheating at cards, I walk over and kick over his body and pull out the dice and they're double-sided or something like that. Something that I could maybe read or something like that. I'm trying to think of a way that does justify that fear being let down, but also shows the violent and sort of almost accidentally deceptive nature of my character. Someone who leaves
maybe
it wasn't
you who lost at cards. Maybe it was this person had cheated 5 or 6 other people out of their last bit of everything, and you just there's an element of and then you get to give them back their stuff, or you get to, because that's the right thing, or that's the thing.
Well, I think and weirdly enough, I think in Grimden's mind, the act of ending this guy's life is the justification, and then as the objects are splayed out, he expects the people to come and pick them up and be okay, well, now I've done the work to come take your stuff back now. He's sort of halfway there, halfway between righting a wrong and returning these gifts, but he's sort of just I did the thing that no one else could do. Maybe it's he's got a really cold, brutalist, black and white nature of good and bad. You know what I mean? Which probably be more lawful evil than anything else. But he's sort of ended this guy who was cheating a bunch of people in front of people publicly, for them to sort of scamper over and take their money back. And for those who question, be he cheated.
There is another angle too. And it could be that something. You were talking about having this whole career working for the royalty or something. Mm-hmm. It could be that there's something that's necessary. I don't know what you think, Joe.
I mean, I feel like if Merritt had seen that go down, and then I don't think that she would go up to this man freshly bloodied from murder and be like, hey, my name's Merritt. But if she sees you in and around the town that we're hanging out in over the course of the next couple of days, she might come up to you and just as a student of humans sort of be like, what was that all about?
Well, I'm thinking of this as in a way that maybe Like, what if you needed that type of violence? What if you had someone pursuing you or somebody? Like, maybe that bizarre show of like sort of black and white totalitarian like death or whatever, just like a blah, speaks to a problem that you're having. You know what I mean? That maybe either about this tomb and it could be violent and you just need somebody to take the brunt of it, or you're being pursued by somebody, or you need a negotiation for somebody, or XYZ, and you see the utility in my presence because no one else would be as brutal as that.
Sure. No, I think that's totally a possibility. So this old queen's tomb full of relics of an ancient cult, I can see that being a job for sure that Merritt is hired to do. Not like a Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider thing,
Ooh.
but adjacent. That she felt like she might need some muscle.
Mm-hmm. Maybe even something that you like took off, maybe I'm not sure what kind of character you're thinking, but like in the thievery sense, but maybe this was something that I don't know. Like, again, I don't know background wise if it's important that other people know that about this, or that we're totally innocent on breaking into the tomb. Like, are we the only ones that know? Are we competing about it?
Can be either. You like.
I think the idea of having no competition, but you knowing how dangerous it is, however that might come about. And maybe you almost see me as expendable to that regard. Mm-hmm. Like, maybe you see me as a meat shield, and then
for now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so I'm happy to be a follower is sort of what he's at.
This delve happen. Can you take people along when you stride, or is it only yourself?
I've never tried.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. Okay. I think we're sort of flashing forward a little bit from this moment where you meet and form this partnership towards.
Should we
the
do
end
that though? I think it'd be interesting to see how these characters would interact.
Sure. I think if you can keep it down to like, I think it's
quick.
Like, 15 to 30 seconds. Like, what's that first moment?
I think the end of it being that whatever happens with that death is quickly explained, as we talked about. Someone comes up, like, "What the fuck are you doing?" He's like, "You stole." And then I, walk over, no beer, sit at the bar, and wherever you are, you see that.
Yeah, she comes over and she's like, "My name's Merritt.
Grimden.
You seem like a blunt kind of folk."
He stole. He deserved to die. And he picks up his half drink and finishes it.
Be that as it may, I guess, what are you doing later?
I guess. I tend to move out of town before people get too interested in who I am and what I...
What is it that you do?
Go around from place to place, spend some time, drink, fight, and move on to the next one.
And how do you pay?
I have money from years. And again, you see him, the gray in his beard, the gray in his hair, like this, almost like this tiredness in his eyes type stuff.
And she looks you over with almost the way that you look a horse over to see if you wanted to buy it. And she's like, "You'll do. Come with me."
And he's like, and puts the drink down and follows her to the bar.
I think there's a small montage of travel as the two of you finally reach Alliand. It's the old capital of the Regency. They've moved the capital to a much bigger, newer city that had design, and this is the one that has been built on sort of the ruins of an old city, on the ruins of the fallen civilization, on the ruins of the people who lived there before that.
On the ruins of
yeah, whatever you like. As we're about to discover, and somehow you've uncovered these secrets into this tomb beneath the old palace, and you stand there in this moment, and facing across from you are all of these relics, and these are the sorts of things that clearly tell us maybe a little bit more about the about this cult that worshipped the old queen. And you can see in her tomb, it's you see her. It's almost looks like roots. It looks like she was laid out and then a tree grew over top of her. It looks like there are branches that are roots that are in the walls that look like they're antlers extending up out of here. You're certain if you could dig straight up from wherever you've gotten to, there would be a tree above you somewhere that comes down and forms this tomb. A tree that's been growing forever. But then in this same chamber with that tree and the tomb are all of these relics. They're, from the sorts of things that are obvious things like a shield or a crown or a robe or a staff, to like things that get a little bit more. There's bones that were important to this cult. There's bottles that contain the breath of something or someone. There's that sort of thing. What of all of these relics in the tomb, I guess, paint me a little picture of you folks getting down into this tomb, and then what relic of all of the ones laid here grabs your character's particular eye?
I think for Grimden, he sort of enters into the room and like looks around and sort of just stands next to the entryway while Merritt sort of makes her pick. He's sort of not disinterested, but obviously he's like here and knows his place, almost too used to knowing his place in that regard and waiting for his whatever call to action.
Merritt brushes aside cobwebs. She like holds a torch into this dark space as the shadows of the roots cast wild shapes on the walls. She sees the glitter of these ornaments, and the thing that most interests her is on a short pedestal off to the side. It is a worked bowl, inlaid with some semi-precious looking stones, but the engravings on the side are some kind of story. Something that prickles in the back of her mind as maybe a fable she'd once heard. And she walks over. She approaches this bowl, holding her torch out, and looks behind her. Grimden.
He's already like right there, and he's like, "Have you found what we need?"
I don't know yet. But do you see this?
Yeah. Aim for.
Maybe.
And the days of travel have been like quiet too, like very like little conversation.
Grimden, so of all the like treasures and things around here, I mean, there's stuff that's also maybe it's less obvious. There's a scrap of paper with some blood, or a scrap of cloth with some blood on it, or someone's muddy handprints on an old tabard or something. But these things too were considered sacred by this cult. Is there any one of those that makes you think, I wonder why that's even here?
Out of place wise, you mean?
Out of place, or just catches your interest. Something that's like, oh, I wouldn't have expected that here.
Are we doing a, like, what is it called, that horror movie where they have to choose thing that kills them?
Cabin in the
Not quite.
Woods.
Yes, Cabin in the Woods.
Well, I mean, the thing that jumps out to Grimden is the signs of like battle that are around here. It
Okay.
seems odd because, am I allowed to say that?
Yeah.
That it seems like a last stand maybe was pushed here, and he sort of brushes aside like a shield with like dried blood on it.
Oh, there's like a corpse.
Yeah, and there's like a desiccated corpse underneath it, and he just sort of bends down, his knees cracking as he does, and he sort of like pokes at it, with a spare bone, and then stands up and brushes the dust from his hands. He's just kind of like trying to survey to see maybe what they were fighting over specifically, other than just the general room, and to see maybe if anything's missing. Sort of just trying to act as Merritt's eyes, because she seems obsessed with this thing in the corner.
Yeah, I mean so the story on the bowl that you found, what do you think it tells you about the cult that was here? That and what do you think their relationship to this old queen is?
Great question. The images on the bowl depict people chasing after constellations and building a ship to reach the stars. And I think the queen is seen as both one of the directors of this building, this construction project, as well as one of the constellations in the sky. So she's both like the means to get there and the end of the journey.
I love that. That's so good. And Grimden, you're looking around and you see this battle, this clear signs of a struggle. Probably,
Yeah.
What do you think it tells you about the cult that was here, that put these relics here?
I rifle through this like stack of skeletal remains, which sort of, as I follow it, becomes a little higher, and there's like 3 or 4, and as I push like a human skull aside, I notice this like animal skull almost. It's like long fangs seem out of place, and I hold it up for a second, like in sort of the piercing light that's coming from the doorway behind me, and I turn it slightly and notice its wolf-like claws long at the end of its head, and I go to turn to Merritt to sort of point it out to her, as I notice she's studying the bowl as well. And I sort of disregard it and drop it down and stand up and walk over. What's so special about the bowl?
It harkens back to a story I learned once as a young girl. I'm not sure if this is important, but I think we should take it with us. And she gestures to you for the sack that you carry. One of the chief reasons that Merritt brought you along was because you were big enough to carry the relics back.
Yeah, and he swings the large leather sack from his shoulder and like opens it up. Of course. And he bends down and like grabs like a tattered pelt, like moldy wolf hair, like wraps it around it. It's like pieces of dusty hair sort of float off and puts it in the bag to keep it safe.
And this is when you feel it start to happen, as you start to load things into this sack. And it starts, I mean, maybe it's just a bowl at first, wrapped up in this tattered pelt that almost crumbles to dust. It's been here so long. And yet there's other things that seem relatively fresh. And as you start to move around the space, you kick up dust because nobody's been here for a while, and that dust fills the air and starts to sparkle in your torchlight, almost like as it passes through that heat, it burns off something rough on the dust, and now it's just a sparkle in the air, and then it stars in the air, and you can feel them start to coalesce and like shift onto your skin and start to like cover your cover every inch of you, and you begin to transform. You can always ask me at any point what it feels like to, what it feels, smells, tastes, sounds, or appears like to transform from who you are now into a wolf. And then I'm going to ask you some questions about that. So maybe take a minute to talk about turning into a wolf. And I would like to know, Merritt, what's most familiar about turning into a wolf?
Do you want me to narrate what's happening and
Absolutely.
fold it in?
Yes, please.
So as Merritt is casually rooting through these artifacts, she starts to notice the quality of air down here changing. And at first it's just kind of casual observation, and then starts to panic as she realizes that her skin is being flecked by something's in the air. And that panic turns to just awe. She holds up an arm to regard these specks of brilliant light just coating her body. And and she turns, and the first thing she notices about the transformation is that it's happening to Grimden as well. She looks out over her elongating nose and sees his limbs shortening and lengthening and fur sprouting on him. And to her, as she reaches the floor with her front paws, what is most familiar about being a wolf? Hunger. Hunger is the most familiar thing about being a wolf. She feels a real carnal, deep hunger.
Yeah. And sort of in a similar way, what's the most painful about shifting, Grimden?
Grimden's experience is total opposite in a way. Merit's is almost spiritual. Grimden's is flesh and blood. It's the feeling of his own true eyes tearing through the eyes he has now, the feeling of his skin splitting and hair moving out from underneath, almost pleasurable at first because of its obtuse nature, because it feels so off, and yet like welcoming. This scent of blood, his own blood, in the air as his snout pushes through his broken cartilage on his own face, and slowly he reels down to all fours, his back arching as the wolf hair sprouts from between his spine. And as his flesh sort of tears off, he licks his jaw to taste that irony, deep, warm taste. The entire thing is painful, but the eyes are what still lingers in him when it's done. The feeling of his own eyes tearing open and new eyes being born.
Yeah, so why don't you take a minute to describe your coat, your size, what do you smell like? What's your voice sound like? What's it like to be this wolf?
He's gray, obviously. Beautiful gray white with a bit of dirt on his feet almost. He's got like the last color of him are on his feet. It almost looks like he's wearing socks, the wolf. And his eyes are sort of this golden hue. And his voice is similar, sort of gruff, without being raspy, because I don't want to do it the entire time. Just sort of like this.
Do we speak? I don't think we speak.
No, we'll get to communication in a second. But
Amazing.
So what's Merit look like?
Sorry, what was that?
What's Merit look like? What's her coat like? How big is she? What's she smell like? What's her voice sound like?
Yeah, Merit is big. She's like a timber wolf, bigger. She's like, I don't know. She's like 3.5 feet tall at the shoulder. And she's like a dark color, dark gray, maybe even a black coat. She's sleek looking, except for like rough around her neck. And her eyes are almost like a coppery color, like a yellowy orange copper color. Big,
nice.
long white teeth.
What's she smell like?
Like a fucking wolf. She smells like dirt. She smells like doggy. Everyone knows what that smells
I know you meant
like.
dog-y, but it's like D-O-G-G-Y. It's
Yeah.
like doggy.
She smells like doggy.
So
Yeah. It's kind
wolves
of gross.
cannot. Yeah, no, it definitely is a whole thing. Wolves cannot engage in dialogue as you or I would, but they are able to communicate with each other with clarity, particularly on topics leading to immediate action. Wolf players are encouraged to describe how their wolves communicate, but be sure that you make it clear what you're trying to say. You don't need to leave anything blank. In addition, there are a couple of other ways that wolves communicate. Scent marking is sort of like the written word. Wolves can leave scents on the terrain for other wolves or similar animals to read. These markings sort of establish territory. They talk about how long things have been here, when they were last by, who is here, who belongs here, who doesn't. Wolves can howl. A wolf's howl is an expression of affection, loss, excitement. One wolf howling is likely to cause any wolf who can hear them to howl, and so howling can reveal the location or size of nearby packs. Any wolf with a feral of one or more must roll a blood result in order to resist howling. So if for example, Grimden has no feral right now, but Merritt has 2. So if Grimden started howling, Merritt would really have to try to not howl along. Wolves also communicate through play. Wolves are eager to play, to face other wolves with their heads down and haunches raised, and can bind the pack together, get rid of some of Winter's wrath. I guess the GM role is called Winter in this game, so I have wrath. Beware it. And in general, sort of can bring you two closer together as a pack, as instead of just as people doing things together. And you can also groom each other. It's an important part of pack health and communication. When wolves groom each other, they clean each other's fur, teeth, wounds, and they can reestablish relationships. This is how wolves can, sort of be another way to get rid of Winter's wrath, and can increase their feral, become more wolf-like. The more you sort of groom each other and become a pack, the more wolf-like you will be. That being said, you are now wolves. You're beholding this whole space in an entirely different way. You're hungry.
Are wolves colorblind?
For the purposes of this, no.
Cool.
I don't know how they are. You have enough.
I'm not. I'm colorblind.
You can decide.
I'm not saying because I'm old. I think it's
and that's the funky thing is you were old. These wolves are not old. This is a fresh, brand new, exciting, young, chipper, full of energy body. This wolf is brand new to this world, and while there may be hunger, not puppies, but also not veterans. They're not old adventurers. They don't have any scars. They're not broken. They haven't lived a hard life of adventuring. They are in their prime in every sense. And so what's it like to inhabit that body and to now be a wolf ready to howl or play or wrestle or figure out what that's like?
So, okay. Well, it's interesting because I think Grimden at first, as he's sort of feeling the bones move in this new body, at the first feeling he's overcome with is a sense of like self, like right, like this already. He realizes, the fact that he hasn't talked in the last 3 days to Merritt now in this body feels for whatever reason right. There's no more issue with him, and that brings him this weird sense of belonging that he's never experienced before. And as he sort of moves about, he begins to feel that young prime wolf meat around his bones, and he starts getting excited in almost in a way that he's maybe slightly embarrassed, and he sort of like does a weird little leap and like stops and then like looks to Merritt.
I'm imagining the torch burning low where Merritt dropped it, and it's casting these shadows around the walls of this tomb, making the two of us seem bigger than we are. Merritt lays her ears along her skull and kind of cowers for a minute, just looking around in fear, and then cautiously walks over to you. She sniffs you a little bit, as if to say, like, what are we? What happened?
So can we talk? How do we talk? Do we just talk like we normally talk?
Yeah. You can describe what you're doing as wolves to communicate and sort of in a wolfy way, but you can certainly
don't use words.
You can use words though. But you're not like holding conversations. You're sort of communicating ideas through other.
I walk around Merritt and I sort of just survey her with my eyes and study her up and down, like understanding that this is also my situation. And sort of pause and look back towards the bowl and the floating things and almost make like a shrug and then walk towards the stairs and start like ascending them out.
Wolf shrug.
Yeah, like a wolf shrug. Are all of our like adornments left in piles or?
Anything you were carrying or holding has become a part of you as
Okay,
you transformed into a wolf. So there was a moment there. It sounded like Merritt was excited and looking around, almost eager. Is there any, did you want to try wrestling just to get a sense of what it was like to be a wolf? Is that
Do I want to wrestle?
I mean, it would matter if both of you wanted to wrestle. But
I think you could try to tackle me from behind.
Yeah, you sort of start going up the stairs and she pounces on you.
Yeah.
Ah!
Perfect. So why don't you both roll a red die and a black die? Red die and a gray die. The red die being your blood die, and the
since we both have, we're thinking
being...
of using red and gray as our blood die, and we're both going to use purple as red and gray as our blood die, and purple as our wolf.
It might
die.
be easier if we both do the same thing.
Problem is, will we be able to tell a difference?
I will.
I can't remember. Okay, so how many of each do we roll?
You roll one gray, one red. So I have one wolf.
You have two feral.
Sorry. So I rolled a 6 gray and a 5 red. So I came out with 1 gray total, right?
Yep.
And I have 4.
And then you add your +2 feral.
Oh.
To get 3.
So and I rolled a 3 wolf.
I have 4 blood.
And since it's not a matter of life, of gore and hatred, and it's not a matter of deception and trickery, you don't add anything to your blood die. So you got. So I'm going to let you describe this, but here's the way the game lets us interpret those results. It was a 3 for your wolf.
That's right.
And a 4 for
wolf 2 to 3. When wrestling, describe your play with the other wolves and gain 1 feral. And a 4 on the blood die. Describe how play frightens you. Choose 1 from the list below. You're not separated. You don't suffer winter's wrath. You don't lose 1 feral. Minimum 0.
So
would I be losing feral anyway?
No, you can pick that one and nothing will happen because you're at 0.
And there's no winter's wrath right now, is there?
Yeah.
Well, he might wrath you.
Yeah, if you don't pick I don't suffer winter's wrath, I might wrath you.
Okay, so I don't suffer winter's wrath, then, I guess.
Yeah,
and it frightens me, you said.
Yeah, describe how it frightens you.
Okay, so you do what you do first, I guess.
Yeah, so as Grimden sort of starts skulking away up through the way that we came up the tunnel into the darkness, Merritt is feeling a little bit put off. She just came over to investigate what was going on, gave you a little sniff, and there's no reciprocal sniffing. That's not fair. So she runs up behind you with a burst of speed and just like pounces on you, and she like pounces and then tries to like roll you.
And seeing you, like I feel the claws on my back, and just Grimden being somebody who's so not used to anyone being this playful, the idea, he's still very much mindful of his human form. And the idea of somebody walking up to him and like tackling him in a playful way just terrifies him. He backs up immediately and bares his teeth and growls. His like haunches are raised and his back is arched, and he begins like backing away and like growling as like spittle drool is like dripping from his mouth. But it's clear that he's frightened because of just the bizarre act of this. Playing is something that he's just never done as a human, let alone a wolf, and he's not going to suffer winter's wrath.
Yeah. So there's this moment of tackling and a little bit of wrestling on the ground. I think somewhere in there, the last of the torch that had been on the ground peters out, and so the only light, and so there is no light in here, or there shouldn't be. There's these silver or these golden flecks in the air. That dust that had been kicked up is now lighting itself and filling the whole room as if it's sky, and these little points of light are coalescing until you can see clearly, like this is a night sky in a particular place in a in the world. It almost transports you there. It's like Merritt, it's like you're dreaming, that same sort of vision of showing you another place. This is showing you the sky in another place, and you get a sense of the trees in that area from the little bits of roots that grow out over the old queen, and you get a sense of a mountaintop from this pedestal that had held the cup, and you get a sense of a fire starts on that little mountaintop. There is a almost like a lighthouse built on this mountaintop under this sun, and it just feels inherently deep down that fire is important and cleansing, and any curse you suffer could be burned away there. And also that fire is a guiding light to this queen is guiding you there in the same way on the stories that there's the ship and the stars and guiding light. And I think there's some echoes there in that just feel like instinct. They feel like it's not clear how you know these things, but looking out at this landscape, there's a place you need to go to be cleansed.
She starts howling. She gets so excited. Howl! Like that.
And for any other wolf who can hear, in fact, this howl echoes under the cavern for a minute. And how does Grimden react?
He's still frightened, right? Like he's still backed up against the wall. And like, if wolves can have expression, he's sort of like confused and bewildered. I don't think he initially would howl back, but I roll for it, I'm assuming, right? Like,
no, you have no feral. You don't feel any connection to this howl one bit.
Yeah, I think it's
You're
interesting.
just like, weird bitch.
I think it's bizarre because I think Grimden is somebody who is so animalistic that so many of the new feeling in this body like clicks for him, but none of the spirit of being a wolf. Whereas, Merritt is almost the exact same way, but the opposite, whereas she inhabited more of the spirit of being a human and now is so easily adapting to the spirit of being a wolf. Like, you're taking both social sides, whereas it's like a Venn diagram, it's like the center, the circles where the animalistic nature of like human brutality and an animal it's like almost the same for Grimden, and yet the social sides are so drastically different, but you seem to hop between them really well. So he just he's confused and like bewildered, and still has a weirdly human sense of like denial in the misunderstanding of howl.
Merritt, your howl fills these tunnels that you're in and echoes up through however you got here into the streets above, and sounds start to echo back, the sounds of all of the dogs that live in this town, just howling along with you. This pack of animals that live on the scraps in the streets, they hear this howl and they can't help but hear nature's call back. There's this yelling and yipping from all around, almost welcoming you into the world, but also with a sense of like, you're not of this city place. You could be dangerous. So there's almost an apprehensive howl back, like, "Hey, you heard this too. We better all be on one side, because who knows where that noise is coming from."
Interesting.
So there are. Oh, go ahead.
It's dark down here.
Absolutely.
Merritt, after being overcome by this vision and getting so excited and seeing this mountaintop and a fire, she almost can't bear to be down here anymore. And she starts climbing her way up through the tunnels, up and out.
Yeah, and Grimden sort of like does a double take almost and like trots along behind her. Clearly she understands this wolf nature so much more already. So there are three other major categories of things that wolves do in this world. And you can always, when you want to stop and take a sniff and try and assess your situation, you can behold the world. It's another move we can roll. When you try to seize what you desire, enact a scheme, or sate a hunger, you can bend the world to your will. And if you're fleeing from danger or charging into it, you can
face the perilous. And so when those sorts of things come up, we can engage that moment. But yeah, talk for a minute about climbing out of these tunnels, which are certainly not built for wolves, and haven't been occupied by humans in centuries or longer, or who knows how long, and getting out into the streets, like that first brush of city air full of all of these overwhelming sensations that are maybe to Merritt, who had human senses, not so exciting, and now this whole suite of new ways to behold them as a wolf can be.
And I think to an extent, once Grimden sees Merritt like heading towards the exit, that like tentativeness, that sort of nervousness where he's like following at first, he maybe sees her slow a moment as she sort of searches the tunnels, and Grimden like falls back into that role that sort of brought them down to these tunnels in the first place, of his like utility. And his eyes go back to like slits, and he takes the lead once again, like just serving this next 60 seconds of getting them out of these labyrinthian like tunnels that led them towards this crypt. And as he's doing that through the the dim like growing light of the underhalls as they reach the surface, he's starting to test his animal senses and sort of sniff along in the darkness as he like climbs the stone steps towards the streets of the city ruins.
As Merritt sees Grimden take the lead, she wags her tail, follows along behind him, and as we come up through the darkness of the tunnels out into the city streets, she gives her coat a heavy shake to get rid of all the dust and debris that cling to it. She looks around.
Yeah, it sounds like you might be beholding the world.
Let me behold that world.
Yeah, let's when your wolf drinks in your senses, roll. And you always have to add your feral, but if you had a blood thing that applied, you could choose to add that.
I have even 4s and a feral of 3, so I rolled a 3.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So you're going to choose 2 questions from the wolf list, and I must answer both. And so this list is: what do my eyes tell me? What do my ears tell me? What does my nose tell me? What do my instincts tell me?
I think she's excited about trying out this new powerful nose. I want to sniff around and see where we came from. Can I smell myself as a human having traveled down this passageway? I put my nose down to the cobblestones and sniff around. And also, what do my instincts tell me?
So your nose, depending on the wind and weather, a wolf can detect and locate scents from over a mile away. And if you can identify it, you know where it is. These scents, and so you can absolutely detect yourself. You can detect the room you were staying in at that inn a couple of blocks over. You can smell the horse that you'd rode in on, and you know exactly where that is. You can, and that's just the start of it. As you're sort of drink in more and more, everything sort of gets clearer and clearer. It's almost like there's that enhance kind of thing going on. You're like, oh, that's where all the dogs are, and there's a rat over there munching on some piece of garbage, and there's in this palace that we've sneaking under, there's guards coming around about to turn that corner and see these 2 wolves inside the fence. And like it just the more you stop and drink, and you can get that whole picture of what these busy city streets look like. The further away from you, like when you start to get a block or 2 away, things get so muddied and mixed, and the resolution gets pretty hard to see. But you can definitely like follow your trail back to where you came from. And your instincts, you've got these instincts to know what is a threat to be avoided, what's vulnerable, what can be, who can be cajoled into wrestling. If you definitely know, your instincts tell you humans around that corner, seeing them they could never catch you, and they're not prepared for you. they're not a threat right now. Unless you did something really to aggravate them, they're not going to think you're a threat, but they are going to be very curious about where you came from and where you're going. And so being seen is going to like get their interest, but not make them, take any action necessarily for.
What does Grimden smell like?
Oh, that's a great question.
Blood.
Ooh.
And testicles. No.
You're a boy wolf.
Am I answering? Yeah.
Yeah, you're answering. What do you smell like?
Yeah, I probably smell like, I'd probably smell...
Get metaphorical with it.
Yeah, I metaphorically smell like ash on the wind in an autumn day. No, I think I'd smell like iron because of the tearing in the blood. I think I know in theory we would transform the same, but I feel like we didn't for whatever reason. And I think Grimden has almost like a matted fur from hunks of viscous blood that kind of hung a little bit, so you smell that scent of which is probably really bad if someone saw me. There's a wolf covered in human blood.
You went sci-fi with it,
yeah,
and or even fantasy. Horror movie, and I went Sailor Moon with it.
You did. But I think it's okay if they're different.
Of course it is.
And that's the idea, right? Everyone transforms their own way.
Everyone transforms differently.
Yeah, and Grimden definitely went a violent way. So his smell reflects that very much. It's sort of sweat and spit and iron, warm iron smell of blood and fear.
The hunger catches up with you now too, Grimden. Merritt felt it right away, that gnawing empty inside. But now that the pain and fear is washed out of you a little bit and you're back in the open, you also have this big, empty, gnawing hole inside you that needs to be filled with food.
Yeah,
if you're going to make any kind of journey.
Chops. And sort of without even hesitating, he heads to those pigs that were in the stable behind the inn that they had stayed at. Just trotting along.
Yeah. Do you make any attempt to hide from guards coming around a corner to see you, or not even give them a care?
I mean, no, probably not. I don't think Grimden would think that far ahead to be like, oh, I'm a wolf. They wouldn't like to see a wolf. I don't think. Again, he's not dumb, but he's just not smart in that way. He's just kind of like, I'm going to go get the thing I need.
Yeah. So, Merritt, you've got the best sense of the picture laid out around you. What do you do?
Merritt watches as Grimden starts loping down the street toward the inn, and she casts a glance over her shoulder as she smells the guards around the corner just to kind of get a sense of their reaction, but she begins to follow him as well.
Mm-hmm.
What do they do when they see two big fucking wolves?
Yeah, you definitely hear oh shit, do you see that? Well, don't get close. They can be really, they're definitely more scared of you than you are of them. They've got these halberds that they lower, but they have halberds and armor. They're sort of approaching closely to something. Where did they dig a big hole? What is that? They're sort of investigating where you came from, and by the time I think they're getting away. They're never going to believe us when we tell them about these. How did they even get in here? Well, we should figure that out. And so there's a little bit of debate that lets you get some distance where you're going before they sort of start following. Where are they going? So you definitely hear them behind you, but you could easily outdistance them.
Yeah, I think Grimden is just so focused that he's just he has one thought on his mind, and it's.
Are you just brazen down the middle of the road, or are you going back alley shortcut, or sticking to the wall, or
back alley? I think Grimden is always as the crow flies, and he would never follow a street and then turn on a street. He would just go through people's backyards.
So I'm imagining two kind of clumsy a little bit wolves right now.
I don't think Grimden is. I think he's very, in fact, maybe surprisingly dexterous. I think this is where he benefits as a wolf. I think he's coming up along a short alley and he hops on a stone wall, maybe like 1 foot slips for a second, and then marches along it and then hops down into someone's, muddy backyard and then scales the fence and hops back up and then disappears over a side before you've sort of, fall. Like he's sort of got this like drive because he knows, okay, well, this is the direction of the thing I want, and this is where I'm going to go.
You know what? I'm following you with my nose, but the two of us are going different ways. So you're like an alleyway over, and I'm like in the second alley. You hop a garden fence, and you're going through someone's like dumpster pile, going over another fence, and then we meet up again just for an instant, and then you diverge again, and I'm still keeping track of you and where you're going.
Yeah, but I definitely think Grimden is just sort of going the way that he knows he has to go. And in the darkness for a little bit as the sort of street lamplight fades off and then comes back into view as we sort of meet up at an alleyway across from the inn. And heads across towards
the inn is there. There's the little stables, and sort of on the backside of that, there's this pen. They've got maybe 3 or 4 pigs in there. They're fat. They smell delicious. They're well fed. They're almost ready for slaughter for the next, to keep a little bit more food on the table here before they go buy more and put them in the pen to sort of continually feed that demand for meat at the inn. What do you do?
Merritt's got her mouth fully open in like a soft pant. Her long tongue is just like hanging out around her sharp teeth, and she gives this big wide mouth look.
And like if wolves could, Grimden almost does like a and like goes towards the, like, her acting so wolfish is like for some reason weird to him, even though they're wolves now. Like he's kind of like, all right. And then they head over towards the pen, and like dexterously they hop up towards that sort of garden wall and fall down on the other side.
Yeah, when the pack wishes to sate a hunger, have the wolf with the highest feral roll. If more than one wolf has the highest feral, you can pick, and we can figure out what happens.
That is me. I have a 3 feral, so I get it's evens again, so that's a 3 feral.
Coming for doubles.
So you can tell us how the pack gets what they seek or sates a hunger. You get to pick 2 from this list. Tell us how the pack gets what they seek or sates a hunger. No one else must go without. None are put at peril, or tell us how you embrace your wild nature and either lose Winter's Wrath or gain 1 feral.
I'm going to tell you how the pack gets what they want at /sate a hunger, and none are put in peril.
Perfect.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead. Describe that. What's that look like?
So, and I mean, Grimden, feel free to pop in here with some details. But I feel like there are, I don't know how many pigs, 3 or 4 fat, as you said, in this yard in the inn. They haven't been put in their stables by the innkeeper yet. And as the 2 of us hop up over the back wall, we manage to corner a pig very quickly. They start to scream a little bit in fear, the way that hogs do.
And I think that's when Grimden sort of springs into action and just immediately, like in a flurry that almost is like missable through a blink, just goes straight for the throat and starts the same way you saw him hack to pieces that man in the bar, not finesse, not necessarily strength, but like determination. And over and over and over and over until the head came clean from the body is exactly how he is in Wolf. And he grabs the throat and pulls and pulls and pulls and pulls until a large enough chunk between the creature's head and torso comes loose, and a spray of warm blood splashes on each of our faces, and he spits it out at your feet as he bites the main body of the pig and drags it to a darker corner of the lot.
There's a howl you hear from the world around, the other those dogs from the city, those barely domesticated or newly domesticated hounds start to howl, smelling this feast going on. If you don't want to howl yourself and you have feral, you would have to roll, or you could just howl and let them know where you're at.
I'm gonna not howl again.
I don't want to howl because I want to eat, because I'm hungry, because I can smell the blood all over my friend. I can smell it in front of me. I want to take a bite. I'm not interested in howling.
So you're going to need to roll a blood result on those dice.
Let me roll.
I'm going to try to...
Ooh.
Oh, you do? Oh, no, because you have +3 feral.
Oh, blood is red. That's funny because I wrote wolf gray, blood human.
Correct, yes.
Right,
so I rolled a 1 feral then, totally.
So
I can't
you howl.
I howl too. I roll 4 for my wolf die.
Yeah. Yeah, and you howl. The whole town is howling. Why don't you increase your feral by 1, Grimden? And I think you hear the rest of these coming closer, hoping to get their share of this kill too.
Fuck that. This is our kill.
Yeah, I think not being able to suppress it, like having such a wolf-like attack with the blood warm on my face, I feel that howl, and we hear the echoing howl around us. And I think we're going to stop there for the mid-game post, because that's a scary, sort of nervous moment to end. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the mid-game post. This is where we stop the action and we jump to you in the Discord chat and we say, hey, what's up? And we ask you a special little question. First off, great job so far, Rob. This is a really cool game.
Thank you. I'm digging it. You guys are being excellent wolves.
Well, you know, some of us have had practice. I hope everyone is enjoying this game. We're going to ask you a mid-game post question. What should we ask?
What's your favorite wolf name?
Is it Trevor?
I have a favorite fictional wolf.
Ooh.
Okay.
And then we'll just
Wait,
randomly
that's not
pick.
A question. Oh yeah. Okay. We can just
Randomize
do that.
it.
Sure.
It's just the one that feels best to us. I don't know.
Yeah.
What's your
Guess
favorite?
our favorite fictional wolf.
What's your favorite?
Aww.
Guess my favorite fictional wolf.
White Fang.
No. How'd you know that?
I don't know. I just picked it out of nowhere. It was one.
Yeah, it's the only wolf I know. Yeah, guess list your favorite fictional wolf, everyone, for the mid-game post. It's just below the chat here. Just post it and let's get talking. Yeah, White Fang is my favorite, purely from the movie with Ethan Hawke.
Harlan's favorite fictional wolf is me.
As a 13-year-old girl gallivanting around her school's yard.
Hello, 6th grade,
amazing.
still pretending to be a wolf.
Okay, you do you, baby.
Well, 5th grade, but yeah.
What's your favorite wolf, Rob?
I don't know. I'm fairly partial to any really trashy, urban fantasy novel that goes into like ridiculous prose about, this person smelled like spices and whatever the hell because I'm a werewolf and I can put metaphorical crap into whatever, and now I've got a great literary device to refer, to hang something back on. Anything that's like over the top cheesy urban fantasy werewolf is gonna get it.
So you must love the movie Ginger Snaps.
You know what? I've never seen it.
What?
I know. I've heard really good things.
You'd
feel
love
ashamed to say.
Rob, it's the perfect mix of sort of like cheesy, like I don't know how to explain it. It's like a really good and it's Canadian too, like super Canadian.
Yeah.
But these two sisters who, you'd really like it.
I've heard really good things about it. I just haven't, got it onto the playlist yet.
I'm the worst. Apparently, everyone knows wolves and stuff. I know one wolf.
That's okay.
You
Don't
probably
worry
have
about
favorite
it.
Wolves, don't you?
What?
You probably have favorite wolves.
I have many.
I can't think of one. I can't think of one besides White Fang.
There's in the Robin Hobb trilogy, Fitz becomes a wolf at some point, I believe, which is really well done. Or he's friends with a wolf, I forget. Or he talks to a wolf.
Or there's a wolf in
There's
the
a wolf
background.
in there. It's a good
There's some
wolf.
dire wolves in D&D, and I guess Game of Thrones.
A+.
I don't even like I'm not an animal person. That's the problem.
I know you're not.
I'm not. I just don't have that.
Whenever I'm like, what would my wolf do? I just think about Louis.
I
And
know.
I'm like, well, here's what Louis looks like when he's sad or whatever.
And to me, I'm like, I don't even know the term. I don't even know what a wolf's mouth is called. It's like I know there's a thing for it.
Aw, baby.
Snout or whatever.
You can just say snout or wolf mouth.
Wolf mouth. I know. It's just not my wheelhouse at all. I don't know it. But I'm excited. I'm excited to be practicing it. That's the fun of not knowing something. You get to stretch a muscle and learn more.
This is my wheelhouse.
This is your wheelhouse, baby. Yeah. If this was like a game where we played in
If
classic
this was
movies,
a wolf LARP, I'd be right up in there.
Yeah. All fours, gallivanting around.
Have you seen the video of that
Yes,
woman
I
who
have.
runs like a horse?
Creepy.
What?
Rob, oh my
No.
God, it's amazing. She like jumps over a picnic table on all fours. It's incredible.
Whoa.
Someone post that in the Discord, please.
Oh my goodness.
It's beautiful. She runs on all fours like at a speed. It's really terrifying and kind of just fascinating. Are you looking for it, Ron?
No, I'm just reading the Discord chat, and William, who like never joins a game, is like, meh, I was expecting werewolves. People who turn into full-blown wolves aren't werewolves. That's shape-shifting. It's like, okay, William.
Yeah, I definitely.
Got it.
I saw lots of people
Thanks,
get
bud.
excited about werewolves, and this is not a werewolf game.
No. And
But-
then he said again, as stated, I'm not a big fan of four-legged werewolves. I prefer two-legged
Yeah.
digitigrade classic versions. William, just enjoy the game. Or don't. You don't have to tell us.
This game is about wolves.
Yeah, this is the one about wolves. Deal with it.
It's about a spell that turns people into wolves, and whether or not you ever get to be people again. So there's stakes on the line. There's a curse.
Steaks.
Maybe stuff.
Right now, I'm
Right,
just really
exactly.
excited about finding a pig and eating it.
I'm excited about practicing that side of me that doesn't have much practice, i.e. playing a wolf character. We've only done one other RPG, Blue Rose, where we played animals, but that wasn't transformation. That was we started as animals and ended as animals. So
Oh, cool.
it's actually really cool. But I'm really excited to get to stretch this muscle.
You and I
That's-
were also PCs in that, were we not?
Yeah, I played a
Justin ran that.
fox.
And I was a wolf.
And you were a wolf.
Whoops.
Named Trevor.
Oh,
I wasn't named Trevor.
Yes, you were. I don't know any of these wolves though. Sif, Furrer, Hopper.
Fenrir.
Hopper, I know.
Fenrir? Who's Fenrir?
Fenrir is the big Norse wolf god
From what?
from
Norse
Norse mythology. The one that's the son of Loki that gets all. I don't know.
What?
Guards tell. Ragnarok something.
Who's Hopper? Wheel of Time. they
What's
said?
the Miyazaki wolf?
Oh.
That big one.
Oh, from the Ghibli films.
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
That's
but
a cool wolf.
I know the picture, but I don't know the
Hey,
film.
cool wolf.
Nice
Hey.
wolf.
Cool wolf. Nice wolf.
Wonderful.
I know White Fang. That's it. And it's not even like a personified wolf. That's just like a wolf. It's not a wolf who talks or anything. The boring.
Did you guys ever read the Golden Compass series?
Oh, I
No.
love those books.
So good.
But listen, guys. I'm the dumb version of an RPG player. I never read the novels and nothing, but I watched the fucking made-for-TV movie or whatever. You know what I mean? I'm that.
It wasn't made for TV. It was just made to disappoint. That's all.
Yeah, well, like I don't know. I didn't know any other versions. So it's like everyone's like, "Oh, the book's so good." And I was like, I saw the film, but I didn't see the film.
I mean, so the book was like I read the first one in grade 6, so I'm not sure that they're like oh so good, or that like this was really great at that time when I needed to imagine cool people in a magic world who had a friend that was also their soul that was on the outside that could change animal forms until it decided what it wanted to look like.
Really cool concept.
Yeah, and
Really cool concept. Isn't that like supposed to be something like underscored religion? Oh no, that's C.S. Lewis. That's Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
I mean, so it is kind of a reaction to that, though. There's definitely like an atheist bent through the story, and the Catholic Church got all pissed about it, as I recall. I'd have to remember the controversy, but there was something.
The Golden No, what's it called? Golden Compass?
The Golden Compass, the Subtle Knife, and the Amber Spyglass.
That's an atheist version?
They're the Dark Trilogy, or His Dark Materials. His Dark Materials.
His Dark
is the name of it.
Materials.
the name of the books.
I didn't realize it was meant to be atheist. Well, the whole soul thing threw me off.
There's a bear in that one, a talking bear, dude.
Oh, fucking named Bjorn.
Yes.
Full circle.
No way.
It wears armor and everything. Yeah, same thing.
Wow, that's funny.
He's a cool dude. I really like that character, actually.
really like
I haven't
Bjorn.
read that series in like fucking...
I like
Right.
the real Bjorn. The only one.
I mean,
I should reread it. It's probably going to be too juvenile for me, do you think? If
I had a
was
friend of mine who's, someone who's reading it recently. The first book has held up really well. I think the writing in the previous ones was not as stand up was their take on it, but.
And the first one's good, but the previous ones aren't good.
So the first one's good. The second and third ones, I think the writing maybe drifts. That was someone's recent take on it. Yeah.
Well, we're watching Harry Potter, so who are we to judge on children like?
I mean,
stuff.
Are there wolves in that one too? Big wolves
Yeah,
in the woods?
there's a werewolf. Bipedal,
Not the same.
Not four-legged,
Not the same.
not full-legged bullshit.
down vote. Thumbs down.
Not this horse shit.
We're just
wolves.
kidding. We're just kidding.
Bad wolf. Bad wolf.
Bad horse. Bad horse.
Did you see the chick who's running? They posted in the Discord.
I didn't click on it. I didn't know if it was going to make sound or something. I
No,
guess
you
it's
have
only
to
on my
just
ears.
look at
All
it
right,
because
let's-
it's fucking hilarious. This is not the one that I was thinking of. I mean, it's the same girl and it's some of the same clips, but it's not
no
shot for shot the video that I've seen. But when she's running down the road is amazing.
Yeah, it's kind of freaky.
Oh boy, this is a whole.
That would hurt your back so much.
It's a whole thing. When they go slow mo, it sort of loses me, but it's really something.
That has a look to it that's like it looks
uncomfortable.
unnatural.
Yeah, it looks like
Because her
weird
spine
CGI.
is going like this.
Yeah,
Most animals like ambulate with their spines either vertical or horizontal, not really
It
diagonally.
looks
Yeah,
like bad
yeah.
CGI.
Well, that's why like golden retrievers, German shepherds have really bad hip joints because their back legs are so short.
Oh,
Yes.
this is good stuff to know.
Important
Now
stuff to know.
now you know it.
Whenever I think of you playing
Dog facts.
Wolf as a little girl, I think of you running around like that.
Oh no, it was just that was the bipedal wolf.
Oh, you were bipedal wolf.
It was just regular running, but pretending to be wolves.
Did you pretend to gallop though?
Oh yeah, there was galloping.
Click, click,
But-
click, 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 click.
Yeah, so a lot of galloping, a lot of barking at each other, a lot of pretending to pee on things.
Oh my god.
That was a big deal.
But did you pee as like boy wolves where you lift a leg or like squat?
Yeah, why do you think I said Trevor the wolf?
Just checking. I had to ask.
No, it's leg up.
That's probably better, right? Squatting would be awkward.
That's weird. Why would you
That's-
pretend?
Listen. If
That's
you're going to
weird.
play wolf, you piss like a male wolf. You don't piss like a girl wolf. Because that's fucking weird.
That's
Man,
chauvinism,
patriarchy
you know?
gets everywhere in our
Right?
culture. Oh
Yeah,
my God.
the fucking patriarchy.
You gotta
How
piss like
dare-
a boy wolf, even if you're a girl wolf, because that's
How,
cooler.
How dare they take away our right to piss as a female wolf?
Wow, the depths they'll go.
Ugh, the
Insidious.
worst.
That's one of those
You pee
original
like
sentences.
you pee like a male wolf. What's the name for a male wolf? Must be something.
Wolf?
Mulf.
What's a female wolf then?
A wolf?
A
Milf?
mulf? No, there has to be a distinction, isn't there?
What? No. They're wolves.
Yeah, but there's a lot of animals where they have sort of a distinction between the male and the female.
I feel like those are mostly
Bitches.
domesticated things.
There are domesticated things that have that?
Because it became important when you were breeding these things to have other words for.
And they don't breed wolves?
I think that because they're
I mean,
feral. It's
like
in this-
lion, lioness.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe. I was thinking.
She-wolf.
She-wolf.
Isn't that a thing?
The she-wolf of the seas. Or something. Yeah, that's definitely a thing.
She-wolf of the sea?
What
I
are
feel
you
like
talking
it's a.
I'm a sea wolf. Like a sea lion or a seahorse. What kind of an animal is a sea wolf?
Oh, you know what? A female wolf is called a she-wolf.
I told you.
You're right, yeah. Interesting. I didn't know that.
No, bitches for domesticated dogs. Yeah, wolf and a she-wolf.
Yeah, listen to this. This is cool, too. a alpha female is called a Luna wolf, Luna, like
That's
moon.
fucking awesome.
Isn't that awesome?
That's me.
You're the Luna wolf, baby. And a lone wolf is called an Omega.
That's
Man, they
fucking
got some
cool.
names. So they got the alpha.
All right, wolves are cool.
Yeah, you got the alpha, the Omega. Dope. Man, why do they get the coolest shit?
I was thinking Sea Wolf, the submarines type of submarine. That's what's going on.
Oh,
Sorry.
it's a submarine.
You're crazy. You're so crazy.
I was imagining some kind of shellfish.
Yeah.
Don't be shellfish.
Like a really mad lobster. It's this wolf of the sea.
Funny. Someone's
Definitely.
asking, what is a female wolf called? She wolves just sound so unbelievable. And then one of the answers is, if you're in her presence, ma'am would be wise.
That's good.
What
That's
the fuck?
good.
Anyway, that was an important note.
Oh
to
my
make.
God. Thank you, Michael and Brianna.
What'd they say?
There's a picture of a dolphin mashed up with a wolf jumping, and it's perfect.
The word you're looking
Pretty
for
much.
is bitch. No, I think bitch is dogs. I think we just talked about that. Yeah. No.
Or a dam, depending if you're breeding them.
Damn.
A dam and a sire.
Damn, bitch. This, what is
Damn, bitch!
this? Damn, bitch. You're a breeder. Fucked up.
Breeding is so fucking
Yeah, that's really weird.
gangsta.
So gangster? I didn't expect
I've
that
only
word to fall.
ever met white
breeding is
people
fucking
in
gangster.
the dog breeding business, so
Yeah. So why is it? But I just mean,
excuse me.
could you imagine? You know, what breeding dogs is so gangster. That's the word. That's the
Bougie?
autofill.
Was that the word you were looking for?
I meant bougie, that's right.
Bougie,
I meant-
bourgeoisie,
I meant
bourgeoisie,
frou-frou.
frufushishi. You mean
Kind
like
of. Yeah.
like
Shishi
fancy
wolf.
You know
of the
what's a
sea.
good fucking movie?
Wang
Best
to
in
the
Show.
Fushu. Oh, I love Best in
Isn't
Show.
it a good show
I didn't know
movie?
you like Best in Show, baby. Have you watched all of his other movies, Christopher Guest?
Do they have dogs in them?
No, but he has one called A Prairie Home Companion, and he has one called a Spinal. Well, not Spinal Tap, but Christopher Guest plays in Spinal Tap. The other one is called. What the fuck's the other one? For Your Consideration? No. Christopher Guest films. Come on, guys. We all know this.
Yeah, I don't know.
Nope.
Sorry.
Don't know that I've seen a single one.
God,
And it
it's
was
so...
oh, you like that one song? Have you listened to all their albums?
Waiting for Guffman, A Mighty Wind, For Your Consideration.
It's so nice to have Rob on the stream because I could, when you start talking about movies, I can just be like, and then I'm not the only one who doesn't know what the fuck is
No.
going on.
Excuse me, you brought in Best in Show. I didn't
It's a
bring
great
that up.
movie
Yeah, so we talking
about dogs.
Yeah, no, I like it a lot. And Eugene Levy's in it. The guy with two left feet.
The guy who we saw at the
I
airport.
actually have two left feet. Yeah, we did see him at the airport. For real. And he's in that movie Schitt's Creek, or the TV show Schitt's Creek. We just got a bunch of Emmy nominations, which is a great show, by the way.
My brother looks like a mix between Eugene Levy
And his
and John Oliver.
Yeah, he does,
no.
actually.
In a good
That's a
way.
look. That's a look. Yeah, no, I mean, definitely you could put that face on TV.
He doesn't do. My brother's not on television. He's an engineer. So
No, I know, but I'm
It's
just
even more
saying, like,
apropos.
there's how many more character actors can you be like? Oh, it looks like a mashup of these character actors. I'm like, all right,
Looks like a mashup of Owen Wilson's nose and Gary Busey's smile.
if you put like a big fuck you beard on John Oliver, and that would be my brother.
Yeah.
oh, interesting.
But it's not a fuck you beard. It's pretty well groomed.
He just groomed it though, because he's
But
going to be a
that's-
daddy.
Yeah.
Anyway, what?
Hold on. I need to groom my beard. I'm going to be a daddy.
You're already a daddy.
No, but like, why is that the? You're like, he just groomed it because he's going
I
to be a
think
daddy.
because he was getting like pregnancy photos taken with his wife.
Oh, so of his wife.
With his wife.
Oh, that makes more sense. With the beard.
With the beard. I
He's
think
like,
he groomed it
I'm
up.
having a baby. This is my baby. My beard baby.
I'm going to rub a baby on this beard.
Again,
What are we talking about?
beard babies.
You know, beards.
Yeah, I think we're ready to get
Brothers.
back into the game. Unless anyone has to pee
Battlestar
or drink.
Galactica.
I kind of have to pee.
Okay, go pee quick. Because Caleb's asking, wait, is the game over or are we waiting for someone else?
No,
It's mid-game
No,
post, Caleb.
Welcome to the mid-game
bye.
post, pal. Welcome to the middle of the film. Tell me you've seen some...
oh, I've seen that one.
Thank you. Okay, then you get my references, because 90% of my references are Monty Python, and then the other ones are Christopher Guest films, apparently.
The meaning of life is...
It's time for the middle of the film.
Objectively the best Monty Python film.
Okay, hold on. And I'm excited.
I just wanted to say something that would get a reaction.
No, because I'm excited. No, I would not say objectively the best, but I agree because it's my favorite.
It's also my favorite?
That's what I'm saying. I agree.
I felt like objectively the best was going to get the best reaction out of you, and so I threw in a real
because
strong...
I would love to argue for it being objectively the best, but I think we both know it's not, because I think it's not. I mean, the reason I love Meaning of Life is that it is universal, at least the majority of it is. It deals with themes that every person on Earth has to deal with, and I really like that. That, I think, is why it's the most transcendent of all their films. However, I think Life of Brian is objectively the best if you know the source material, because...
Oh, man, I didn't care for it.
Do you know a lot about Christianity?
I certainly got all the reference. I think I didn't watch it in the best circumstances. I wasn't like in a movie watching.
Yeah.
I don't remember particulars of anything, but I just remember feeling like, meh, I don't care. But I was also like in high school at a party, and it was on in the background.
I promise you this, Rob, honestly, and I can tell you this because I felt the exact same way. If you rewatch it now, being that you undoubtedly probably know more about religion now than you did in high school, like myself, you will understand why it is probably, and again, it's not my favorite, but I would say objectively the best, because I think it's also the most sort of risque. Meaning of Life is the funniest, but it doesn't really push too many limits. It doesn't make you question your own like ethics and morals. It's just kind of like, here's some crazy shit, and like it kind of comments on a lot of that stuff, but it's very, 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 very good.
So we need to do a draw for mid-game post.
Right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 entries.
So I feel like that's roll a 1d5.
Yeah, roll 1d5, somebody.
I'll roll a 1d6, and I will re-roll on a 6.
What?
That is a 5, and so... Colin, you win.
Congratulations.
Colin bro. You win with Sif. What am I saying to learn all about when I do my wolf research?
Colin bro.
Sif the wolf.
They're making Bill and Ted 3.
I haven't seen the first one. Actually, that's not true. I have. I'm sure I've seen that one.
Excellent adventure. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Dark Souls. Nice.
Adieu. Oh, it's from Dark Souls?
Yeah.
Interesting. Let us return to Wolfspell, the Savage Curse.
Yeah, you sate your hunger. You eat as much of these pigs out back of this inn as you can, but you're not alone for very long. There are people in this inn. These pigs made noise. There's how you've both howled like crazy. There is starting to be quite a number of humans who are gathering around, trying to like bang pots and pans together and get their whatever they've got at hand to try and chase you off and chase you out of here. There are the animals of the area trying to circle around these dogs who live in this city and used for work or who are just strays trying to like get a piece of this action, trying to maybe stay on the outside, trying to figure out what sort of danger you place. There's almost the whole city starting to circle around you and make you feel like you don't belong here, and if you stay here, it's going to get perilous. What do you do?
Have we eaten like satiated?
You have, yeah. You've taken a couple of gulps of this freshly killed pig, and it's enough to sate you a little bit. You're not starving.
I don't know about your vision to this mountaintop.
Definitely, you both saw the stars and the space. Yeah, that wasn't unique to anyone. You both saw that.
Oh, then yeah, I have a drive and purpose. Grimden is such a, I can't find a better word, but like a priority sequence wolf. It's like hunger, check. Now it's like that burning orb or whatever it was at the top of the mountain is like the most important thing. So can I do like a smell or a behold my world?
So what do you want to do? You want to just figure out what's going on around you?
I want to find the direction of that.
Okay, so yeah, why don't you behold the world?
Okay. And that's just 1 and 1. And I'm going to add my feral, right?
You always have to add your feral. If you can justify adding one of those things that impact your blood, you can do that.
Oh, no. But anyway, I succeed. So it'd be 3. So it's 2. 2 for my blood.
Sure. So you get to choose one question from this list. What should I be afraid of? Who is vulnerable? What do they want from me? Where am I most advantaged? Who is in control? What is most valuable?
Oh, but what should I be afraid of? Who is vulnerable? What do they want from me? I guess maybe where am I most advantaged?
Yeah, if you're on this quest to get out of you're
or maybe what is most valuable? I don't know.
Which one do you like?
I mean, where am I most advantaged could be like, oh, in like a back alley hiding. So maybe I'll switch it to what is most valuable.
Okay. What sorts of things does Grimden value in this? What sorts of things does Grimden value?
Right now, I mean, he values returning to form.
Okay.
But, is that too easy an answer?
No, that's high up on his list of this is in the top of my head of a thing I value. I think the getting somewhere you're going to be able to see the stars is the most valuable piece to you. Getting somewhere where you can try and start to find those together, and that's far away from here.
I mean, ultimately, checking off the lists, it was like satiate my hunger. Now it's like find that curing light that felt like it would remove this curse, because I feel, I'm obviously cursed. I can feel it. It's different in me. So yeah, I guess I would try to reach the highest point, and I would turn to Merit and be like, we need to get it. Oh, I can't talk to you, but I'd be like, let's go.
Merit is a little more concerned than Grimden right now about the amassing of the townsfolk on our position. She is sort of backed into a corner at this point with her hackles raised, and she's looking all around her. Can I also try to behold
Absolutely.
the world?
Yeah.
Doubles again.
You are a double girl.
Doubles. So I have a three feral.
So you'd ask 2 questions from the wolf list.
What do my eyes tell me? What do my ears tell me? What does my nose tell me? What do my instincts tell me?
Yeah. So what do my ears tell me?
Your ears tell you that your ears there's just cacophony. There are the other pigs in this pen who are still alive, who are afraid and squealing and trying to get away. There are the amassing humans coming out of the inn and joining around, feeling like they've got these wolves surrounded, but not sure if that means they're going to have to kill these menaces before they eat any more livestock, or what they're going to do. They're worried about. There's everybody's locking doors and sealing the children away. There's these bloodthirsty monsters out here. We beyond that, you've got the horses and dogs of the town, very, very interested and upset and trying to there's just noise everywhere around you. There's almost nowhere that's silent, and as you get further and further out from here, you'd have to travel pretty fast to get ahead of this like squealing noise that knows you're here. They tell you that people know you're here. You've made it no secret, and they're alerted to you.
What do my instincts tell me?
Your instincts tell you that you are scary. Nobody here is prepared to deal with you, and you can grimace or snarl or snap at anything, and it's going to take 3 steps back and leave you plenty of room to do what you need to do. You are the biggest, baddest thing around, and that's a thing you can wield.
Merit barks at Grimden to get his.
I can see you. You're fine.
There we go. Better now?
Yeah. There's a you.
Sorry.
That's weird. I did that last time.
Did that last
too.
time.
Yeah. I don't know why. Anyway.
So the last thing I heard was Merritt barks at
and Grimden follows suit.
Grimden.
He equally wants to get out of here for sort of different reasons. Merritt perceiving the more immediate threat, whereas, Grimden's sort of like, oh, I want to get out of here for this reason.
You're still more human.
Yeah, I'm still definitely more human. But I follow suit.
We scale the wall and run.
Amazing. Yeah, you have no trouble leaping the wall, using your feet to sort of get the extra height on it to get out over the fence that's holding the pigs in, and dash through the roads and dash out sort of over the next wall and out into the fields beyond the city. And there's farmland around here for a little while, and then it sort of breaks into a wooded area that's where there's some logging, there's some, and just some general people foraging for things, hunting in these lands. They used to be the king's hunting ground before they moved the capital somewhere else. And you start. Where do you start heading?
I want to reach the highest point. So I sort of, while Merritt took the lead, I kind of maybe slow to a trot and get her attention and sort of point my nose to high peak. Must be a wolf version of that. My little snout. Yeah.
Muzzle.
Peak. And like kind of grunt a little bit and start heading towards a higher mountaintop. We know that in our vision it was at a mountaintop, so I'm thinking that a higher peak would give us a better advantage point.
Yeah, you start heading towards these hills that eventually start to tread up, and I mean you're no trouble. You have no trouble closing the distance. I mean, your new body is built for endurance, is built to travel across this land, even when it starts to get cold as night falls and the first fall frosts start to come on the ground and the turf starts to get a little bit crunchy under your feet. I mean, your thick coats are built for this sort of winter. There's almost no temperature that would phase you. But it comes time to it gets, you walk as far as you can and you start to feel dragging. You start to feel tired. It starts to feel time to rest. There's you've loped through as far from civilization as you can go in a day. And you're in these hills and you're tired. What do you do?
I mean, I guess we would sleep. There's no real fear. We don't need to start a fire. I mean, we're animals and creatures. What?
No, we don't need to start a fire.
What was the scoff for?
Oh, no, I was just, I agree with you.
Oh, I thought you were going to be like, they're not making a fire. Death.
No,
I do that.
That seems really cool.
Good.
I think we probably, Merritt at least will dig kind of a shallow den, almost just an indent in the ground that's big enough for the two of us to curl up into.
And I think actually while you're doing that, Grimden's still so much in his head about being a human, actually probably would try to do that, funnily enough.
He's
I think he'd
start getting
collecting
sticks
wood.
and stuff?
Yeah, I think he'd start collecting wood and bringing it back and setting it down and he'd get maybe halfway through, not in a goofy way, but before he'd be sort of mathing it out and then look over to Merritt and then sort of just, again, his attention shifting, shaking his head and walking over and curling up and lying down, trying to process his new.
Do you curl up with me?
Yeah, and again, out of necessity, just logic of it. He's like, I'm cold.
Do you groom each other before you rest that evening, having
what
traveled covered in burrs? It's an important part of pack health and communication.
No, I don't. Well, I don't think Grimden would. I don't think he would. I don't think he understands that as a necessity.
I think Merritt grooms herself just as a course of like, oh, my fur is covered in pieces of dead leaves and sticks from digging this big hole. She's like picking them out of her fur with her teeth, and she's sort of gnawing on this hard spot on one of her paw pads that has accumulated over the course of traveling for the past couple of hours. And she's licking her fur, and she sees that Grimden has some similar detritus in his
But
fur.
like even worse, like he's got like bits of like, you know, like pork sinew in him. Like he's
yeah.
matted and like just disgusting.
So she tries to groom you a little bit. Do you permit her?
Do I roll against this? I'd like to.
You don't have to roll it. I mean, it can happen or not. If it does happen, you can decide to get more feral or not.
I kind of want to leave it to chance. I want the dice to decide whether I react to this in the human side or the animal side.
Sure, let's do it.
Okay. Because I'm liking the way that. Yeah. So no, he's still doing the human side. He's like, I think, sort of stands up. And is there any reaction to the blood side of it on a grooming roll?
No.
Okay, so I think he just sort of like stands up and sort of looks around and looks down at Merritt and sort of like with that like animal turning your head type, and it's just like sits a little bit further away from.
You don't like bare your teeth or anything.
No, it's just kind of like he probably thinks it was like an accident almost. Like you like accidentally start grooming me, and he gets up and walks around, like circles 3 times and sits back down. Farther away from me.
That's funny. It's like I'm like brushing my hair and we're sitting close to each other, and I just like accidentally start brushing your hair.
Yeah. And I'm like, no, dum. I go over here now.
Oh.
I whine.
Yeah, I don't think he would even react to that.
The stars above sort of, you know, come and begin to recede as it's just that moment before dawn. You get a sense when you're sleeping that you still dream in the same way you might have as a human, or at least you still dream, perhaps wolf dreams more than human dreams, depending. So I think there's still a sense of like processing your day, that idea of traveling through other spaces in your dream might still manifest as traveling, walking along as a wolf now instead of as a person. And the stars in your dream are very much in both your dreams. If you become aware of them at any point, the stars in those dreams are the stars that you saw shining above the old queen's tomb, this, leading towards this lighthouse, this ancient holy flame on top of a mountain somewhere. With and you can hear in that dream, you hear a howling, you hear a wind blowing on this flame on the hilltop, you almost flickering it out, like blowing it till it's just down to embers, to coals. This cold wind is so strong, and then you wake up because you can hear that howling, that otherworldly call also. Now you can hear it now, waking you up. It's a wolf, but it's not a wolf. It sounds bigger. It brings with it the wind chills as this thing howls. The frost that was just barely coming has full on bloomed, and every stalk of grass has water and ice crystals formed on it, as if it just became 2 months more wintry than it was before in the period while you were asleep. Something from has woken up and sees that flame is now still burning. What do you do? And is now howling in real life. In fact, it's howling in real life. If you don't want to howl and let it know where you're at, it's not far. It's back towards civilization. It's maybe half a day's lope that way, sort of just where the woods became the hills. There was it's the direction it's coming from, this howl that blows with the wind.
I'm going to try to fight the howl.
Also me.
Ooh, 1-1.
I did it.
You succeeded.
Nice.
I guess I didn't right? Because I have my feral plus that, so that's
you
one.
don't. Nope. Unless you can justify how it would be a thing of deception and trickery or a thing of...
Actually, yeah. I think, especially with the way that we sort of discussed my deception and trickery being more like my poker face.
Yeah.
In that sense, I do think that actually would be the case. And I would even go further to say, because this sort of wakes us from a dream, I think in my dream, I'm still human. And it's like howling. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm not going to howl because I'm like a wolf. You know what I mean? I'm not a wolf. And like as I wake up hearing that howl, I'm actually sort of almost deceiving in my dream. I'm sort of like working through that stone face wise as I still hold on to that human part of me as I wake.
The two of you wake up and swallow these howls inside you from this winter wolf, this creature of this elemental almost creature that's come hunting you, and you just know you're hunted now. What do you do?
It would be such a bizarre feeling for us to wake up with, as wolves.
Yeah.
Almost feeling like it'd be going. And Grimden for sure feels that almost for the first time, despite being able to suppress that. Sort of stands up and looks around, and the wind now sort of, crisp on his fur, shivers, having moved away from the warmth of Merritt, and hears the howl on the wind, and for a moment becomes uncomfortable at also this sort of realization of how supernatural all of this has become. And he walks over and sort of nuzzles Merritt.
Merritt stands up and shakes the frost out of her coat, her ears forward, listening to this keen sound on the breeze, trying to be able to discern whether it's in her own head or something that she can actually hear. But no, she sees the look in Grimden's pale, wolfy eyes that he sees something amiss too. And she circles around where they made their rest for the night, just smelling the ground, just trying to determine whether there's any immediate danger.
Yeah, why don't you behold the world?
Mm-hmm.
You could both behold the world if you liked.
I'm a behold that world. Oh, nice.
Doubles.
Well, I got 3 blood.
So yeah, you get very different questions then. Why don't you ask those? Why don't we go back and forth one at a time until we get to that?
Let me do what should I be afraid of? What should we be afraid of?
You should be afraid of this winter wolf, this howling from beyond. There's so much. It's so much. It's like, when you wake up in dreams and you just know things. Things about this winter wolf that you didn't know, that you couldn't know otherwise. It's a creature from this dreamland. That's where it walks. It brings winter with it. It maybe is winter somehow. It is this embodiment of cold, this flame, this guiding light that can purify you. It wants to extinguish it, and it knows that's where you're going. It doesn't know where that light is, but it knows that's where you're going. And if it gets there might not be a fire for you to be cleansed in.
What did my eyes tell me?
Your eyes tell you that you can look up and see the stars, and there's just that final moment. They get the sense of you see this pattern in them, the pattern that you're looking for. The direction of that you need to go is up over through these mountains and up beyond the next peak. You're certain if you got over there, you could find the star you needed to follow to get right to where you're going. It's sort of over one mountain, along the next one, and you're sort of going to be able to see it from there. These mountains block your path.
And the other question I want to ask is, who is vulnerable?
Sorry.
is what do they want from me? That's what I meant. That's so funny because I was like, this is a really important question to ask. What do they actually want? Do they want us dead or whatever? And then I read the wrong one. Asshole.
How much is that doggy in the window?
Bark, bark.
They.
What do they want from us?
They want you to. So I think there's hierarchies of wants from this creature. I think the obvious one, the one you wake up understanding from this dream, is they want you to lead them to this fire. They know you know where it is. They want to go there. Their whole existence is predicated on the idea that they can chill this guiding light, this cleansing fire, that they're a creature from somewhere else who wants that above everything else. But more specifically with this howl, they want to know where you are. They want you to identify yourself. They want you to come and face it, to sort of square off, because it feels like it could chase you away. It could get you on the run. It just wants to know where you are so that it can sort of confront you, get you scared.
Right now. Okay.
It doesn't know where you are, and it doesn't know where you're going.
So I turn to Merritt and sort of try to communicate this, I guess.
What's that look like?
Well, I don't know. How the hell do you say all of that? And how the hell do you explain
creatively?
So, okay.
Yeah.
We both speak English still. And,
yes.
And
not as well.
Grindom is still...
Wolves, we don't speak to each other.
No, but we still read and write. And Grimden is still thinking like a human. So he walks over to like a clear patch of snow, and like with his nose, like sort of puts a dot in the snow and like turns, and you see this like white flake sticking to his nose. He like shakes it off, like angrily almost. And he walks over and he like does a big circle around it, and like dots it a few times, and sort of like makes like a being like, do you understand? This is the destination. And then he makes another symbol, sort of, it's like squiggly and he makes like a sort of a nervous face to you and sort of goes, oh, but like really quietly, like emulating the howl that woke us.
I like that.
And he like draws a line between the two and then crosses it out and being like, and then shakes his head, being like, we can't draw it to where we need to go. And then hopes you understand.
And miraculously, no problems understanding each other.
How couldn't you get that?
Merritt does like a play bow where they put their like whole forearms down as if they're stretching on the ground with their butt up in the air in the direction of the star that she knows that we need to follow, and then she slowly wags her tail.
And Grimden is still like,
fucking dogs.
Like you know, that like even dogs do it when they're like, God. I swear every dog has always been like at some point to me when I'm like trying to talk to them or whatever. It's like, God, you idiot. And then it walks away.
Are you saying every dog gets upset? Like
at one point gets annoyed at me. Yeah. They're like, Louis does it all the time. He's like and like walks away.
I want to try out my supernatural abilities as a wolf. This is something that I can do as a human. I know that we need to travel far and fast. And that it's a place that I've only really ever seen in my dreams. I feel like that's the best bet. The best way to get somewhere without being tracked is by traveling through space.
You can feel it inside you. You have a strong sense of the supernatural, and you know that there's an older, wilder wizardry that's well suited to the minds and voices of wolves. And you can feel it taking shape in those dreams and that are like have you walking along as a wolf. But you know it will require you to howl. You will be able to bend the world to your will and do the same sorts of magic, but it will require you to howl, and that will let it know where you are. But you could do it and be wherever you needed to be if you bend the world to your will.
I want to try to convey this to Grimden by another series of charades, wolf charades.
Can we say we just do the same thing now that we?
Yeah, but mine involves some hopping around.
Oh, of course.
To show you that we would be hopping to a different space, and then she does a little quiet, like, oh.
And Grimden understands for a second, and he knows he wouldn't really be able to convey his thoughts on this. So he questions whether he should just act, knowing that a howl would give away their position. Sort of turns to her and slow nods.
Instinctually that this magic is more powerful the more wolves are howling with you. And mechanically, I'm gonna just explain. You need a really good blood result on this to do your magic. As many wolves as which being feral is not always going to be easy. For every wolf that's howling with you, you can add a point of your feral to the blood instead of to feral. So if there's 2 of you, you could take 2 of those feral, put them towards your blood instead of not. And I guess you're particularly keen on the supernatural. Maybe that's enough.
Yeah, so I have 3 feral and also 3 supernatural. So my overall score is a 0. And Harlan, Grimden has 1 feral.
Yeah. But if you both howl, that's, and I think
that'd be one net feral, right?
Yeah. If you, yeah.
Let's do it. Right?
Yeah. I mean, my only thinking would be maybe we confront the thing before drawing it to it. But how do you communicate that? Can we just say we communicate that as well?
How do we confront the thing?
Well, my thinking is, what if I just howl, or we howl, whatever, and we stay here and we fight this thing? I don't know what it is, but I mean, Grimden's nature is fight it till it dies. Not to say that it's even possible.
It's like a terrifying winter spirit in the form of a wolf.
Yeah, but anything can be killed, says Grimden's mind. Can this thing be killed?
I have one more of my
question. Yeah.
Yeah, I have one more. Behold the world. What do my instincts tell me?
Oh, this is a good question because you get +1 when acting on the knowledge that your instincts tell you.
Yes. To my feral.
Well, to your feral. So your instincts tell you that your instincts tell you that you don't have a big enough pack to compete with this thing on power of that older, wilder magic. This thing has that, you could feel it in the howl and in the winter it brought with it.
So we can't
fight this thing. You can't fight this thing magically. You just don't have enough. You don't have enough wolves with you to compete with it. I mean, you could try. It certainly isn't going to automatically fail. We're going to have some really interesting things happen, but it's got some chops there, but that doesn't mean you couldn't lead it into a trap. You couldn't, if you could think like a human and not like a wolf. It's in the realm of competing within the realm of wolf is going to feel very challenging, but to get it to play along and pull some, and these are wolf instincts. So I think that's what it's not vulnerable. It might be able to be cajoled into being, there is some ability of, it's still also a wolf. It has those same pack instincts. It doesn't necessarily need to be your enemy either. It has a thing that it wants. It doesn't want to harm you. That's not where it's coming from. It just has needs and
what if
hungers.
we find more wolves?
What if we hunted an animal?
Both of those are reasonable ways to interpret that.
Sword in my mouth.
You've just been carrying this sword with you the whole time.
Well, the question is, how do you hunt a wolf like a man?
With a trap.
You're a wolf. Yeah, but how do you make a trap with a wolf?
You find a kindly huntsman.
Yeah.
Do you have any allies that you like? You're veteran adventurers from a long time. You have been on many adventures, know this countryside, know lots of things. Do you know anybody? Do you have any friends you could reach out to? You're not alone in this world necessarily.
Well,
You
I
are.
picked a very alone character, but
You did describe all of that, yeah.
But this is a hunting area. This is an area where wolves are commonly hunted, and Grimden would know, as would Merritt, how populous the wolves are and how many out woodcutting
Camps.
Huntsman
camps. What the fuck
cabbages?
do you call woodcutters?
Foresters?
Lumberjacks.
How a lot of the lumberjack camps have wolf problems and hire huntsmen to keep them away, which include traps and things like that. And through conveying this, I say, what if before we howled, from an area that would have the huntsman traps, like one of these lumberjacking areas?
That would be dangerous because we would have to get into an area where they're prepared to hunt wolves as wolves and then draw a lot of attention to ourselves. But if we could do it, we might draw that wolf spirit creature somewhere where it could be caught.
Yes, except not all of these lumberjack camps are being used right now, especially in the winter. I'm sure that one that you know really well would be abandoned. Maybe some of the traps are still set up.
It might be. The winters come on very quickly. We can go see, though.
What was that one called again?
It's called Roanoke Bounty.
Absolutely,
fact,
it is.
Maybe they abandoned it because it was overrun by wolves.
Who knows? But we should go and take a look.
At the very least, we can howl from there.
Yeah, if that's where you're headed, it's as good a spot as any to start to make a break for it. This winter wolf has no way to find you yet. It's going to be using its nose to try and track you down. Clearly, you didn't howl back. Just as you use your nose to see through this morning dawn, where and hear that maybe in your immediate area there aren't so many wolves, but you can smell them as you get towards Roanoke. You can smell the pack there, and and you maybe even heard them a little, their howls in response last night to the winter wolf on the wind. You make your way to this camp. It's
Yeah,
So it's exactly as you want it to be. In fact, it's even like, Merritt, what is one thing in this camp that you're delighted to see is exactly as you need it to be?
I'm delighted to see the vast quantity of tripwires laced throughout the trees like steel spider webs. Things that, as humans turned wolves, we are fairly capable of observing that maybe native wolves wouldn't have paid attention to.
But it's not perfect. Grimden, what is one thing that you are chagrined to see is not the way you'd hoped?
I want to say it's the only thing that's coming to mind, though. But there's a human here.
All right. Yeah, he's tall. He's got a big saw and a big axe, and is in the middle of chopping up a log, turning it into lumber. Not in commercial sense so much, but definitely splitting some felled trees down to camp wood, and also keeping some that are clearly sort of midway through becoming a new cabin in this place, halfway through construction, as this like surprise winter has hit. So the tent he'd been using for shelter and hoping to to have taken down and become a lovely warm log cabin in the winter is sort of poorly serving in this cold weather. You can see he's bundled up in his own sets of furs and carefully checking all of the traps around the camp that he's set up and maintained. He hasn't seen you yet, but if you stray any closer, he's bound to notice. What do you do?
Maybe we can use this to our advantage.
Communicate.
Can we try to bend the world to our will?
Yeah. What do you want to happen?
I mean, it says the person with your highest feral rolls.
Yeah.
So I guess that would be Joe.
So I mean, you're describing an action the whole pack is doing.
Yeah. Well, my thinking is...
You describe it and I'll roll it.
Well, one of the things is tell us how you would mold the environment to your advantage.
Yeah.
I guess technically we already did.
That's if I roll high blood.
Well, that's why I can't describe what happens until you roll.
Do you want me to roll it?
But what do you want to happen? Like, what do you're trying to...
Well, tripwire is great, but if the wolf is like, floats or whatever shit, or like it's just going to trip it, it's not going to kill it is all.
Right.
So I was thinking maybe
Oh,
like
no,
some
I meant that
pitfalls.
the wires trip, like they trip a trap.
Oh.
Trip wire. Not like to trip somebody. Sorry, I should have been more specific.
No, that's good. Well, I was thinking like maybe some pitfalls too, or like deadfalls, or...
Yeah, I'm happy to say every trap that Arcus the lumberjack needed to feel safe here, he has built.
Well, then never mind. Then we don't have to bend the world to our will. It is our will. So then I'm thinking, let's hide and howl.
To howl to call this winter wolf here.
Yeah, I mean, we can't really do anything to the guy. We can try to kill him.
I think he might play into our hand if he
That's what I'm
sees
thinking.
this crazy big.
We just have to stay hidden.
Yeah. So let's.
Yeah. So when do you howl? Like,
well, we want to howl with the expectation that we can then jump to the next point if we succeed, right? Sort of the intention.
Yeah.
And if it fails, which is possible, then we brought it to the area rife with traps to kill it.
Yes.
That's our thinking, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Then let's roll for howl, and with the hope that we succeed, and then we can.
Was that us bending the world to our will? You said.
I think the howling will be bending the world to your will. So you're.
So the two of us are howling.
Yeah.
And I can.
So your feral's normally 3 right now, right?
That's right.
So you're to bend the world to your will and do this wolf howl. Your feral's going to be 1, and your blood's going to be 2 plus 3 for your other thing.
And I can aid her with.
You can't really. You're doing it. That's a ton of bonuses.
Okay. Oh, I don't know.
It's gonna be.
I'm just.
Yeah.
Shall I?
But you're
shall
by
I-
howling. You are aiding by howling. You are.
That's all I mean.
Let me hear that howl, baby.
Yeah.
Louis just woke up. All right, I got 5 wolf, 3 human.
We wanted to do higher human, I think.
Wait.
But no, you got to add some bonuses to that though.
Yeah. So what did we say?
So I think you're adding 1 to the wolf to get 6, and you're adding 5 to the blood to get 8. So it's 2 blood. So you're gonna choose 2 from the list, or 2 from the blood list, or 1 from the wolf list.
Nice. Which is, tell us how to mold the environment to your advantage. No one is put in peril. You don't gain Winter's Wrath. You lose 1 feral. Ask Winter your advantage.
So if we wanted to call the winter wolf to this spot and travel, could that be?
So yeah, that's definitely molding the environment to your advantage. That would be 1 for sure.
And get what you desire in the same roll.
Yeah.
That's
If
what it
you
says,
have
right?
the advantage.
A blood result will allow you to modify the environment to your advantage, which we're doing, and use it to get what you desire in the same roll. And what we desire is a passageway to the thing.
Yeah. I think that's the right choice. Sorry, you do have advantage. You've spent a lot of thought as far as getting a tricky situation for the winter wolf to find itself in, and to give yourself a break. So definitely, the winter wolf will be here, and you will be somewhere else. But that doesn't mean you're not in peril if you don't pick that one. It doesn't mean you don't gain my wrath if you don't pick that one. So you've got one to pick, and there's some choices that may happen because you don't pick them.
Bring on the peril.
All right. So which one did you pick? You've got environment and.
Since we get to pick one on top of that, why don't we say? Yeah, let's say no one is put in peril.
So
because we get that from the roll, and then we get to pick one of these.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say.
So right. I may lose feral, and we do not gain, and we may gain Winter's Wrath, but everything else is active.
Yeah, I think you howl. So you howl. You're, and this is old wild wolf magic. You realize maybe on some level this is something you'd been tapping into all along, and I'm really excited to hear you tell me what feels the same and what feels different as you travel beyond that first mountain that you just needed to see behind. And let's hear about that first, and then I'm going to tell you about my wrath.
Yeah, as Merritt throws her head back and starts howling and is joined by Grimden, she feels herself transported, and it's new because someone's with her, and it's new because as she travels with him, the two of them gain glimpses of the places that they are moving through together. It's as if she's dreaming. She sees the places in between here and there. And it feels the same because there is still this notion of velocity, of the movement. So it still feels natural, despite the fact that her body is different.
Can I ask whether this passage that we're traveling through is like stayed open behind us, or it was like an immediate like quantum leap?
I'm thinking of it like a Donnie Darko, like a wormhole.
Yeah. Well, my thinking is because I think it would change what Grimden does. If it seems like a passageway that's opened and there's any chance that the Winter Wolf would follow, I think he might like see Merritt jump in and then stay behind and sacrifice himself to make sure that it dies before going through. If that's not the case, if it's like a blip, like a jump through time and it's closed behind us, then he would follow.
The wolf's not going to get there in time for that to make a difference. It's going to get there after you.
Then he'll jump right there and experience all this with you. I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't.
Yeah, you all of that traveling happens in this instant, and you when you stop howling, you are somewhere very different than when you started. But you realize you both suffer Winter's Wrath, and you feel really, really almost like sick to your stomach, but so alone and isolated when you realize it's just the two of you, and you still hear this howl of the Winter Wolf, and you realize like this pack you're in should not be just two wolves. It's like all of there's so many voices that this Winter Wolf has, and you can now start to tease them apart. You were momentarily, when you were walking through there, they were all walking with you. Your whole pack was walking with you, and they've all been consumed by this Winter Wolf one by one. All of these spirits that should be in your pack are now blended and mixed together in the Winter Wolf's howl, and it just feels so cripplingly lonely. Like even just in a way that maybe you've never felt that kind of bond as a person. Maybe you have. Maybe you liked being out in the woods, or you liked being alone in a bar and not making any connections. But there is a real sense of that family and that desire to be around people, to have your back. And they existed, and you can't have them because the Winter Wolf has them.
And we arrive at our destination?
And you arrive on this far mountain, and you can see now what you couldn't before. You can see this flickering little light up the whole mountainside. You've just got to climb up there, and you're there. the lighthouse that you saw. The stars are all swirling exactly like they were in the vision. The queen with their ships and the stars and the boats depicted this lighthouse and you're almost there.
And I look to Merritt to see if she's felt that same sense of the pack being lost.
Yeah, her tail is between her legs. Her ears are back. She's kind of cowering a little bit, looking around. When she was a human, used to attend civilization in order to feel that connection with people. That was something that drew her there. Something that she'd always, even when she was at her most isolated, wanted in her life. And feeling this loss, she's stunned.
And I think Grimden too is surprised, and it's exactly as you described it, Rob. It's this this feeling that he almost didn't know existed. It's like a fish doesn't realize it's in water until it's out of it, and having this feeling of like this longing, this belonging ripped away in an instant that he didn't even realize was there, has made him feel really weird. And I'm gonna do a roll again, up and down, the wolf versus the blood, to see how Grimden reacts to that, because I feel like it's something that could be fun to chance it. And I think for the second time so far, that wolf side of him sort of tugs, and that sense of belonging that he felt pouring through this travel wormhole or whatever is overwhelming. And he like walks over to Merritt and starts to like groom her.
Aww.
And like sees her shivering and like with her legs between her tails, and starts like picking the burrs from her coat and hoping for that sense of belonging that he had just held on to for a moment.
If either of you would like, you can increase your feral by 1.
I'm not going to. I feel like feral's bad.
Ding! I'm taking one more feral.
I'm not going to. But yeah, I groom you, and then I guess knowing that the Winterwood has wanted us to lead it to this thing to extinguish what is presumably good, I motion to her and start jogging up the hill.
It starts to snow. Well, but it's that sort of snow that feels very much like rain. It's wet and it's heavy, and every once in a while you get these big singular snowflakes that feel like they shouldn't just exist, land on your nose and then melt away instantly, or otherwise stick to your coat and weigh you down. Like you feel after 5 minutes of walking in this, you feel like twice the weight you were, and you start walking up, carefully padding along this snow that has come here. You're so high up in the mountains now that the cap is covered in snow and has been for months, even if the winter's not really come down out of the mountains into the fields for a long time. And this snow, you can feel it. It's not necessary. This storm that's here isn't necessarily natural. You can see that it's sort of swirling around with this howl from the winter wolf is there, bringing just all of this elemental fury into the area. It's not directed. It's not like at you. It's just bringing that cold and bringing that season here. And you can feel the every drop of this start to weigh down the snow that's packed on this hill and starts to get heavier and heavier. And you're maybe an hour or two walking up in here until it starts to shift beneath you. Like it's coming down so hard and so fast that to try and walk along this snow up there, like this might come down in an avalanche any minute. What do you do?
I mean, Grimden would stay the course, pick up speed, try to hop over it whenever we could, unless we can bend the environment to our will.
Melt the snow.
I don't know.
You do that, or you could face the perilous and just book it across there.
You know what? I'm going to face the perilous, because I have yet to do.
In the midst of this danger,
I dig down into my hatred.
Oh.
Well, maybe, but who among the pack is the most vulnerable? That's the person who rolls to face the perilous when you go together.
Me.
Who's the most vulnerable?
I guess me.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah, and what makes you the most vulnerable in this situation?
because I
think you need this the most.
Because I need this the most.
I'm almost a little bit content to remain a wolf, honestly.
You are. You're right.
And you are the one who wants to get to the end.
That's right. I'm the one this is my destination. This is my hunger to satiate almost. So I'll roll it up.
Yeah, you're going to roll it up. And in fact, because you're both suffering Winter's Wrath, Joe, you're going to roll as well.
Okay.
I just wanted to figure out who was most vulnerable.
Ooh.
That was a freebie. You just asked a question for free. Who gets fucking doubles again?
That's crazy. I got 6 feral.
I should be playing at the casino today. That's 4 feral for me.
So on your 6 feral,
if no other result says the peril persists, you may tell us how you chase it off.
Otherwise, tell us. Okay.
If the winter allows, slay it.
And Joe, what'd you get? Or what did Merritt get?
Both got the same.
Oh, both got 4?
I got 4. You got 6 feral.
Oh, you cross this. I don't even think it is. Yeah, there is no avalanche. You're just cross this perilous territory. Just tell me about traveling through this horrible storm up to that lighthouse. If
anyone has ever walked a dog in the snow, you know the terrible ways that snow accumulates on a dog's feet. It's painful. It hurts so badly because all of the snow just clogs in between the pads of your feet and cords and sticks to your limbs and makes them heavy. But we continue on.
Yeah, I think it's sort of like that adage where it's like too pissed off to die, almost, where it's like Grimden is like
just like head down plowing through the snow.
Yeah, it's the same determination that has hacked the way through his life, where he's hacked at someone's arms and legs and hacked at that pig's throat with his teeth, and it's not about strength, it's not about skill,
it's just about grim determination.
It's about too pissed off to stop.
Awesome. You make it up there, and I think once you get, there's an overhang that is, you sort of at the top of this mountain where this rock sort of juts out. It's there's somehow no snow accumulated up here. It feels like even the rain and the sleet seems to like bend in the wind around this place, and there is a torch. Like a bowl made of stone. It's almost like a natural impression in a part of this mountain.
Does it look the same, like similar to the bowl that we took?
I think it looks the bowl that you took.
Is it the other half? Is it like actually a cup? Like you go.
I think the bowl that you took is a ceramic representation of this. I think it's sort of the sort of thing that's like this is the primordial version of that, and we made that thing. That's our. That's a symbol
the icon.
Of our, that's the icon that is this bowl with this fire in it. This fire that's been burning since forever, since there was first fire in this world. It's not immediately clear, but you're not alone here. There is a woman standing on beside the fire and feeding it sticks, just one after the other. She sort of has a few of them, and she seems to sense you there and look over and maybe give you a half smile. What do you do?
Dagger. No, I walk up to her sort of nonchalantly, and I'm going to read her. Behold the world.
Sure.
I will roll a 5 feral. So 3 questions from the wolf list. And what do my instincts tell me?
Your instincts tell you that your instincts tell you that this woman is one of the pack.
Our pack?
Yeah. She could be. She maybe isn't now, but she could be. She would fit in.
Okay. And what do my eyes and ears tell me?
You only get one. Oh, you get 3
choose
questions.
3. Yeah.
Oh.
Your eyes tell you that she your eyes tell you that when she puts these logs in the fire, she arranges them very carefully. There's a very precise manner that she's doing it, and she seems to be doing it in a way to build the fire bigger, building it like you're no longer a small flame that just needs to burn ever present. The fire she's building is increasing that little flame, feeding it more and more fuel, making it something that could be truly a pyre or a cleansing fire, as if she thinks that might be needed shortly. And your ears can hear her singing a song. It's a song that has a lot of howling, a little bit of but melodic. It's really like melodic flipping between all these things. They almost echo and sound like they should be. They feel very pleasing to a wolf's ears in the same way they would feel very pleasing to a human's ears. They're songs of coming clean, and songs of joining together, and songs of finding your way by the stars, and songs of keeping this fire lit to guide whoever needs to be guided.
And I guess I approached the fire, and is there a way that I can like pass through it, almost like jump over it, or like
when you stand up in front of the fire ready to walk through it, she reaches out to you and
Chew her arm right off.
And goes to put a hand on your shoulder. And
a letter.
As soon as there's contact, you can sort of get a sense of communication. Passing through that fire, you could be cleansed of this form. You could be cleansed of this curse that corrupted the magic of her tomb. This curse that broke her cult, that lost the secrets. You could be free of that and return to your old form, but it won't be without a cost necessarily.
I look back towards Merritt and sort of knowingly say, and I look towards the fire and I look back to her and nod, like I'm gonna do this. And I guess I want to see, because I've recognized how much she's enjoyed this life already, and I want to know if she's passing with me or if I'm saying goodbye for now or forever.
I think Merritt pauses for a minute, and then she feels the hollowness that has followed her since we arrived at the base of this hill, this lack of a family, of a pack. And she sees in Grimden the only family in her wolf form that she has. So after considering it for a minute, she gets up and pads toward the fire.
And I guess we cross the room.
So when you plunge yourself into the ever-burning flames, you need to roll. You can add +2 to your blood die for every limb that you lose.
Whoa.
I'll lose my arm.
You don't have to pick till you roll.
Oh.
But you can, at your discretion, and lose some limbs. So tell me if and how many limbs you need to lose. And
oh yeah. So I'm totally fucked that roll. God damn it. That's the worst.
Absolutely fucked my roll. There's
Wow.
You know what? This
dead.
is it. No, I'm not dead.
You're coming over the head.
Yeah, so let me let me tell you what the results are, and then you can tell me what you want to do with.
Can I use
With
my
that,
hatred?
So, as it stands right now, a 1 on your wolf, you remain a wolf who longs to be what you once were, forever shunned by the pack and shunned by civilization, pest, and predator.
Ooh.
If you get a 2 to 3 wolf, you remain a wolf who will howl each moon to recall a time when you were not so. And if you get a 4+ wolf, you're a wolf, mind, and form forevermore. If you get a 1 blood, you return to your true form and find it unfitting, eschewing civilization and companionship for simple comforts of the wild. And if you get 2 or more blood, you return to your original form in waking life, but run with the pack in your dreams.
So we want 2 or more is the good ending.
2 or more is, I mean, as good as it gets you human.
Okay. So, and we add our feral to this, I'm assuming, right?
You do have to add your feral, yeah.
Okay, so I am at a total of 5 feral and 1 blood, which means if I want to get at least 1, I got to do what? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got to lose 3 limbs, and then I'm +2. So I get the good ending if I lose 3 limbs. Is it like? Is it like full limbs, like full, like shoulder?
I'm going to let you define limb, but you can define limb however you see fit. That would be taken in the cleansing fire, but it's a significant portion of you lost.
Like hand, obviously, that's big. Can't lose 2 hands, but can it be like hand, elbow, arm, or is it like arm?
I feel like I think it's at that point it's your arm. You can say if it's my hand, yeah.
What about hand, arm, and then like foot?
If it's a different arm, yes, you hand on one, different arm.
Oh boy, that's a heavy cost.
Or be a wolf.
Guess I'll die then. Whoops. I mean, you know what? Okay, here's what would happen. I see Merit like burning in the flames. You know, obviously she's unable.
Well, so Merit, what choice do you make?
Yeah, you do your thing first.
I rolled a 1 for blood and a 5 for wolf. I have to put 4 on top of that 5 for my feral, which means I have a 9 for wolf to a 1 for human. And then the most I can do without starting to shave off limbs is consider this a supernatural event for which I can add 3 to my blood die after rolling. That's still a 4.
Can we add things to our blood die?
Only
Can I
me.
make this a hate? Gore?
I mean, you just tell me how.
I mean...
Gore and hatred, I mean.
Well, gore is losing limbs, I would presume.
I mean, the minute I lose my hand, it's like gore, right? So that's like 2 and then 3. That's like 5 right there. That's enough. That's all I need.
All right, yeah, we'll get back to you.
Just want to see.
Even with as much supernatural force as I can put behind this, I still come out with a 5 on the side of wolf, which means Merit is going to remain a wolf, mind, and form forever.
So burning in this fire and stepping out the other side, Grimden, you see Merit purified, Merit boiled down to their just and purest singular form. And it is a wolf. It's burned away all of that human that shouldn't have been there. Merit has always and will always, like, this is their truest, most purified form. And the old queen comes and welcomes her.
And as I like step out of the fire with one hand gone, the gore and viscera and blood like bathed in my skin, I like breathe free for the first time, the cold, icy wind. And I look over at Merit. The only thing I've ever had as a family or friend, a feeling that was admittedly sort of thrust upon me, but one that still lingers as a 1 because I have that connection. And I walk over to her and I kneel and I pet her and I look for any sort of memory of her, you know, behind those eyes. And as she reveals herself to only be a wolf, I draw my blade. I think he kills her.
Fucking try me.
Oh,
I think he thinks.
He tries.
I think he thinks this is like
A
punishment for
one-handed
her.
dude?
Well, because-
forget about it. I'm gonna
Okay, well,
eat
then
you.
no. Okay.
Well, hold on.
Sorry. Then never mind. Then she moves and I don't. I just thought she said that she'd be sad being alone. I thought he like in his mind. I think he thinks he's like doing her a favor.
I love the
But she's not.
idea. I love the idea that he goes to do that, and the old queen just catches the blade and says, "She's not the one alone. You are."
Perfect.
Ooh.
Yeah. There, that's fine. And then he's like sad or something.
Yeah, and then I think she just sends you on your way
perfect.
towards the howl of the winter wolf in the background, and you marching towards it.
Yeah, and he sheathes the blade and walks off into the.
And that's a Wolfspell.
Great game, Rob.
That was
You can't
awesome.
hear you can't hear me clapping. but
There's
you can
applause
Just
in the
fucking
background.
quiet. You're such a turd.
Whatever. You're gonna kill me.
I don't care about killing you. I just thought it was a good. I didn't know if the way I took it as like your character was like lost.
the
Isn't
queen welcomed me into the pack.
But isn't
Yeah.
it sort of like you lose yourself though? Isn't that what you were saying?
No,
I
no,
got
I
a
take
new
it.
self.
Yeah, I take it more as not that merit would lose any of the things that made them merit. They would just purify and emphasize and like heighten all of the best parts of merit, and those were the wolf parts.
Oh,
It was
okay.
just
The
it
way
was a
I-
statement more about which parts of merit were more true.
I see. Well, like in the spectrum of like 5 being you're back to your normal self and her getting the total opposite, I thought it was like more punishing in the sense of like you lose whoever you were and now you're just an animal, which I guess isn't a bad thing. But I
I
guess
think that could be true for some of the curses. I think our curse ended up feeling a little benign, feeling a little bit like it was
Benign,
a curse,
10.
but also it was lovely.
oh
You know,
no, very
the
lovely.
old
And I like that ending even better. That was much better because you worked with me on it.
workshop editing.
We could have had a battle.
You were gonna fight me. That was the stupidest thing. It's like
Well,
fine.
the best
you
thing
win.
was
I don't care.
is you wouldn't have got to roll.
Excuse me?
Merit could have faced the perilous, and because they're a wolf, and this game has rules for wolves, but not for being a person.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. No, that was awesome. Great game, Rob. It was all fun.
Thank you so much.
Very interesting concept. Very exciting
Pool system.
concept. Now, Endgame XP goes to. I mean, this is just a hands down. And if I know, Rob, you've been busy running the game, but Carly has been drawing this entire time, and she
Amazing.
has drawn
She drew
this
us.
amazing artwork.
Oh no way! Look at that.
Holy crap!
That's awesome.
So gorgeous. I'm going to use this as the title card for this game if Carly's okay with it. And obviously she wins.
Are you screen sharing it?
Yeah. I did it with the audience.
Oh, okay. Nice.
That's so good.
So good. Amazing job, Carly. Thank you so much. Yeah. I'm flabbergasted. Because it looks so good. And it's like right exactly what I had in mind too. So well done, Carly. You win Endgame XP. Yeah, thank you again so much to Rob for running this game for us. This is something you backed on Kickstarter, was it not?
I had Worlds Without Master for a while. So it was originally published in this zine of a bunch of cool games called Worlds Without Master. You should go check it out. They recently did a Kickstarter to put that game on like an album cover because it wasn't rock and roll 70s sci-fi enough for them. And so then I kickstarted the album cover version. And Shell Khan, who's doing all the art, is a friend of mine here in Toronto. And so she's very cool. And so it's Epi's game that's kind of getting tweaked because it's been out for a while. So it's kind of a second edition or very minor tweaks of that with Shell's awesome art on it. And I'm very excited about it.
Cool.
Well, that's awesome. I'm glad you got a chance to show us. And I'm really glad that you got to run a game for us for the first time.
It was very fun.
Doesn't feel like the first time, but it is for some reason. Yeah, Rob, this has been a lot of fun.
I love your style.
Love your style.
Well,
and
thank you
Rob
so
is going
much.
to be
It
back
was-
next week, of course, for Apocalypse World Session 2. So if you haven't watched that yet, you make sure to check it out. We are going to be killing and fucking and goring up next week at 8 o'clock. That is it from us. Hope you have a wonderful night. And as my friend Joe always likes to say,
It's my bedtime.
it's our bedtime, guys. Good night.
Good night.